again. So, last time, in the last game, you guys had entered the Historiophage demiplane via the Prayer of Saloon and the Tear of Saloon. Your mission that is given to you by the Historiophage, the object that you are asked to retrieve, is actually something that seems to be a very tall order, because you're asked to retrieve what Elminster thinks from the clue that's given. He thinks you're asked to retrieve the phylactery of Zaz-Tam, the uncontested dictator of the Red Wizards of Thay, one of the most powerful wizards in the realms. All the high Zolkirs of Thay, the high wizards of the highest red wizards who are the Zolkirs, they by edict of Zaz-Tam, they all need to be liches, just like Zaz-Tam is a lich. However, before you were able to get before you went into the adventure, however, you're also given a lot of extra information to help you out, because a red wizard of Thay by the name of Cyrana, she had led a rebellion about 5 years ago, and this is the time that you're going into Thay. This is confirmed just by the information that's given when Historiophage began rewriting the book. This was during the Bloodgate War. Around 5 years ago in Thay, she had led a rebellion. She failed, but she had a contingency plan in which her simulacrum was activated at the time of her death. And it is the simulacrum that came and gave you this information. She told you that when you enter Thay, she doesn't know where you're going to be in Thay, but she knows that there's a underground resistance that's been building up. And you need to gain the trust of the resistance, because around that time is the time that she decided to join the resistance. Cyrana is the person who built something called the Bloodgate Nexus. It's a network, an intricate magical network of portals that can take you into where they think Zaz-Tam's phylactery is probably being kept. A secretive place right under the heart of Thay, or the Thay Mount, called the Doom Vault. As a matter of fact, most people don't even know it exists. So you have a pretty significant task ahead of you. Any other questions about that you were given before you entered the Historiophage? Just as a refresher.
I can't think of any.
I just remember the things we have to, where if we're searching for the resistance, we have to say the land is fruitful to try to get them to see if...
Yeah, I took all them notes and they're gone, so I don't know if I have any questions or not.
Those notes should not be gone.
I can't find them on here.
Because
anywhere.
those notes were you had written them.
I took them last week, or last time we played, not last week, obviously.
We got to be careful with level 5 magic.
Oh, actually, I think it might be the journal that's causing this error. Maybe the actually, your notes are there. I see them.
Well, I'm looking at my notes.
I'm looking at Neris's notes. I see them.
Those are from a while back. Those Neris's journal.
Yeah, I see the notes that say Thay Quest. Do you see that? You don't see.
No, mine. I have. Oh, okay. Now I see it. It's at the top. Okay, I do have it. Never mind. That was my bad eye.
And also, I think the journal is producing error messages for me, at least. I don't know if it is for you.
Well, I was trying to open up a couple different journal entries,
but it
when
does,
you said there was errors. So.
But it does work. Like, the entries are still there. It's just that the journal itself is an extension, and that might be the one that's spawning these error messages. I hope it is, because that's not a big deal. I also see... Yeah, I see that. Okay. Anyway, yeah, you do have notes in there.
Right.
So being as prepared as you could be, you're up against a very difficult task here. You guys went ahead and entered the historiophage, and once you entered the historiophage and the teleportation phase was ended, you guys look around you, and it appears that you went from one inn to another inn. You guys are in a fairly rowdy inn. You look around, and there's a lot of music going on. It's very busy. There's waiters running around serving food. You guys are sitting alone at a table in the corner, and there's a crackling hearth and the chatter and bustle that you might expect at an inn. But also, there's an enthusiastic bards and musicians playing in the corner. Flutes, wind instruments, and plucked stringed instruments and various forms of percussion weave in and out to create this masterful tune that's been going on. But it's almost being drowned out by the noise of the people talking. It's a very lively joint. And you look around, you see all the inn-goers. They're wearing clothing that seems a little strange. In terms of fashion, for you from where you're from, clearly you're in a very far away place. And then after a couple of seconds, while you guys are looking around, all of a sudden you start seeing the eyes of the other ingoers all kind of turn towards you, because you obviously stand out and you look really strange among them. And one thing you notice is that every single patron in this inn is a human. There are no elves, there are no dwarves, there's certainly no gnomes or tabaxis there. They're all human, and they all kind of stare at you because none of you are really human.
Not really.
Well, they look at you strangely, but I mean, nobody actually comes and kind of says anything to you. They just kind of go about their business, but you can get the hint that everybody notices you.
Mm-hmm.
So they're all looking at you, and you guys are kind of sitting around feeling, and things are getting more and more uncomfortable as more people coming in and out of the inn all kind of stare at you, give you a long stare before they go back about their business. Clearly, it's not only that you are not human and everybody else is human, but also your clothing and your mannerisms, or there's maybe something else that's really drawing a lot of attention. You guys are really drawing a huge amount of attention. And then after about 2 minutes, this gentleman walks up to you. He's got this outfit on that looks like he's works with the inn. He's got kind of a server's outfit on with a big apron. He kind of leans over. He's like, "Can I get you gentlemen anything?" He seems to be.
Have a nail.
All right, and you see him kind of just making a little notation on his parchment.
I was wondering if you could introduce me to the bard. I'd like to speak with him.
You said
obviously we're the bard. Yeah, obviously we just got into town, and I was just wanting to hear if he had any rowdy stories around these parts.
Well, the bard's really, really busy right now. I can see he's entertaining my guests. And he's like, "Well, you can speak to me. My name's Yago." And he kind of comes. He's a relatively handsome man in his 40s, and he's got 2 different colored eyes. And he leans over, and he's looking at all of you. He looks at you one after the other. And not only is he looking at you, but he kind of starts looking at the stuff you're carrying. He's kind of looking a little bit. He's looking. It looks like he's kind of prying, like he's very. He doesn't want to say why he's looking at all this stuff. And he says, "You're clearly not from around here." He's like, "I didn't see the 4 of you come in. Did you go by did you go by security?"
Oh, we just came in not too long ago. It was very loud in here, so we're not a group that stands out very much. So perhaps security just missed it. We weren't stopped by anybody. We just walked on in and found ourselves a table.
That's strange. Yeah, my name. Well, let me introduce myself. My name's Yago. I'm the owner.
Yago.
I'm the owner of this establishment, and I'd like to welcome you to the Stone Wizard Inn. You know, the best inn you'll find outside of Eltabbar. Now, I just find it really, really strange that there's the four of you have come in and not been at least searched by security, because you're clearly foreigners, and security wouldn't let you in if they've at least seen your papers first.
Well, we obviously couldn't have got in without coming in the door. So
yeah, I'm gonna have to have a word with my security guards.
Don't go too hard on them. Don't go too hard on them, though.
He's like, all right. So you want an ale, and what would you like? And he kind of he just asks each of you and takes orders from each of you.
I'll just have an ale as well. I flip him a silver coin. I tell him to, if he would, to give that to the bard as a tip.
I certainly will. He also asks the two of you. He's like, yes, good sir. And he looks at you. Looks at you, Tolan. Kind of, because these chairs are not designed for gnomes. And you're sitting in it, and it looks like it's like you need an extra child seat just to. And the thing is, there's no accessibility. Like they're like in a normal inn, they have like different sized chairs for different sized customers. There's none of that here. There's just human sized chairs.
I'll take an ale too. I mean, it's just
okay.
Chances are your security guys are probably pretty busy, and I think I heard a commotion out there earlier, and that could be the reason why they might have missed us when we came in. That's no big deal. As you can see, I'm kind of small. It's easy for someone to miss me. So.
Yes, I can see that. And then he looks at Tiny, but he doesn't address Tiny directly. He doesn't address her directly. And then instead, he addresses you, Neris, and he says, I see you got a tabaxi here, uncollared.
Well, we don't know the customs is accustomed to have a Tabasco card. This is our companion that's we found in unfortunate circumstances, and he's joined us since that time, and he's helped us in our adventures and our wanderings as well.
Really? Well, we see a lot of travelers on these parts. I haven't seen a tabaxi that's not, how shall we say, enslaved?
Well, we know what that slavery is allowed in this country. Where we come from, we don't really have it, but we don't. So that's the reason we don't have a collar for her. So we didn't know the local traditions.
As long as your papers check out, shouldn't be any problem. And then he kind of saunters off to get your ale, and you guys continue to sit in this inn with all these inn residents just staring at you. Making things feel really uncomfortable.
So is it quiet, or is it still kind of rowdy, and people just kind of...
It's still kind of rowdy, but you guys are clearly drawing a lot of attention.
Guys, I'm a little concerned if they start asking us about papers.
Yeah, I was wondering about that, too.
I mean, if we get ourselves a copy of papers, we might be able to fake some new ones.
Yeah, we don't know what kind of papers they want us to have. How we're going to find that out. Perhaps Tiny could maybe snitch some papers from somebody so he can see what they're expecting of us.
Strangely, the people look at Tiny, and they are less surprised to see Tiny here than they were when you guys were in Waterdeep. It seems like the people have seen Tabaxi before around here, but as Yago had pointed out, these Tabaxi are enslaved.
Well, I'm going to lean over to Tiny. I'm going to say, Tiny, I know that it'll probably be upsetting, but you may see some of your kind with collars on and maybe even worse, and you need to try to hold your emotions and not show that that it bothers you any while we're in this country.
Meow Meow. I also think Meow was a good idea to play along, Meow Meow.
So as you guys sit there, kind of just still discussing this, and then Yago returns a lot quicker than you would expect. He returns with your ales. Takes your coin, and he serves you the ale. But as he does so, you see that he kind of he's got a more of a suspicious look on his face, and he leans down and puts his elbows on your table. He says, yeah, so I just spoke to my security guard, and they have no recollection of letting the four of you in. Now, if they had indeed let you in, there's absolutely no way they wouldn't have remembered you four.
Hey, John, for some reason we're only hearing like every other word from you right now.
Oh, okay. Let me try restarting Discord. Happens a lot.
Okay.
All right. So how am I coming in now?
Good.
Yeah, you're right now. You're sounding good. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Just let me know when this audio crap happens again.
So you said that.
Yeah. So Yago leans over towards you. Now he's looking very suspicious, and he's like, and he says, he says. Now, I spoke to my security guards. If they have no recollection of letting you four in now, if they had seen you and checked you out before you came in here, they certainly would have remembered. He says, he says, I know you're not from around this area, so unfortunately I have to do my duty. I'm not trying to give you a hard time. It's just that they're watching me. And if I don't do my due diligence, me and my whole establishment will be in trouble. He says, so I got to ask you these questions. Where do you come from? He kind of looks at you with with this kind of intent look in his eye.
I myself come from the Great Forest, and I've traveled many places. And as a group, we've been to places as far as Neverwinter and over in that area. And in our travels, we've run across many different folks and many different kinds. And we're kind of just trying to spread out and see who else we can find and what new knowledge we can gain.
I do have to also ask you, what is your business in Thay? You must have crossed the border. There's no way you could have gone across the border with all our magical wards in place, without the Probity Core the Probity Core at least questioning you when you came across. And I don't know if they would have let you in if you have absolutely no business in Thay.
I've heard rumors that Thay has some very fine wine, and I've come to maybe see if about purchasing some of the wine, or maybe even opening up some trade between some of the other cities. Maybe to make a little bit of coin myself. I won't lie about that. I've heard the land is very fruitful here in Thay.
And he kind of nods. He says that could be a reason. But final question I do need to ask you is that if you are merchants traveling to Thay to sample and purchase our wines, why are you carrying such powerful magical items on you? He says, do you know that we have a law against... he says, do you know if Thay has a law? Thay has a law that all powerful magical items must be registered.
Oh, we didn't. We knew of no such law. Where would we have to go to register our items? Because this world is a dangerous place. That's the main reason why we have these items.
He looks at you and he kind of he squints down. You get the sense that he thinks you're lying. And he says, we have a law against a deviant magical. He gets deviant wizards. He says, all those who travel through Thay, unless you're a citizen of Thay, that carry such powerful magical items, such as some of you may be holding, need to have it registered, and you must have been told that when you crossed the border into Thay.
I didn't consider my items that I have that powerful. I have a ring of protection, just things to protect myself. They're not really hugely powerful, so that's kind of the reason why we let that go.
And considering that we were traveling to Thay, we never really considering the power of the Red Wizards here in Thay, we didn't really consider that powerful.
Okay, so you can have one of you roll a persuasion check on him.
Well, I'll do that. I want to roll it with advantage.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. There. I can't tell if it's clicked. And we'll see. Persuasion, did you say?
Yeah.
You want to end the tower?
This time it doesn't matter. It'll be pretty obvious.
Are you burning inspiration to give yourself advantage, or?
Yeah, I will. Oh. Let me just roll let me roll it again for my advantage, because I thought I clicked the button, but it didn't take, so. Okay. Did not show up?
No.
I don't see it.
No.
Nope.
I rolled it twice. Okay, so click advantage. Oh, mercy.
I hope this is not related to the
I think I hit the combat box instead of the.
There we go. I see it.
there
I
you
see it
go.
now.
I still only rolled one, and I thought
You got some magic dice going too. Nice.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty good roll.
So because of you're working really hard to kind of calm the situation. Because you're doing that, you can see Yago's features soften a little bit, and he's not looking as quite as suspicious anymore. He's like, okay, listen, I see a lot of folk come in and out, and I see a lot of strange folk come in and out. The reason people come through here, the reasons are usually their own, but there's rules to these lands. These lands are under very, very strict jurisdiction by Probity Corps. If they know that I've been slack with my rules in my inn, they'll shut me down. He says so.
We don't want that.
He says I'm not doing this because I want to give you a hard time. I'm doing this because I don't want them to give me a hard time. He says, look, listen, there's no reason for me to call the Probity Corps at this time. If you would at least submit to a voluntary search of your things in terms of magical items. You will be there the whole time, and I will have my guards who are trained in identifying magic items, and we will take a look at them, make sure that you're not deviants, and then you can go along enjoying yourself just as you were.
I mean, is there any way we can maybe pay a toll to kind of ignore this kind of search?
He's looking. He starts looking around to see who's watching him,
And then trying to be.
and he's starting to look very, very uncomfortable. He says, "You four are already drawing a lot of attention. It's not that I wouldn't be willing to work with you, but when everybody in the inn has already been looking at you like this, and I don't do my job properly." He's looking at.
We can handle this type of business behind the doors, as you can say.
He says. He says. You can try to roll a persuasion on him for that.
I'll burn an inspiration for that too. Persuasion.
Oh, nice.
And he says, well, it's gonna cost a lot of gold if you have a lot of well, judging by the power of the magical items you're just holding in your scabbard, that nine tails rapier you're holding in your scabbard, I'm sure you have the gold. He says it'll cost, I don't know, 1,000 gold. and I'll keep my mouth shut, and we can just get this taken care of.
No, I think that's fairly agreeable, but I wonder if you would also be willing to, let's just say, lend us some information about the area and
sure.
what else to
Well,
look
sure.
for after we leave.
I mean,
What tickles your fancy?
Well, for one thing, we have heard that the land is very fruitful.
Yeah, I said that to him already.
Land is very well.
Yeah.
I'm sure it is. I mean, we grow great wine. We have great crops, but you got to watch out for those monsters roaming the land. And clearly, he has no idea what you're talking about.
Okay.
he's not in on it.
Darn it.
Well, I was just wondering, as being, obviously we're outsiders and stuff like that, but we mean no harm.
How would you at least how would you like a map of Thay? It doesn't sound like you even know where you're going.
Oh, that would be so handy. I would appreciate that so much.
Yeah, he excuses himself for a few minutes, and he comes back with a rolled up parchment and unrolls it and gives you a map of Thay, and he marks off where you are right now with that little white marker there. He says, as you can see, we're in the province of Eltabbar. This is the Tharch of Eltabbar, and it is ruled by the Tharkian Allmount Halakarian.
Huh.
And and he starts pointing out each of the regions of Thay.
Mm-hmm.
And then the one thing that very notable is he points out right to the west of where you guys are. That is High Thay. He points out that's Thaymount. That's where the Red Wizards live. That's the central government district of Thay, and nobody goes in there without express permission. And when he says Thaymount, that's the capital of Thay. That's the seat of the throne. And that's where you guys are told that the Doom Vault is. It's beneath Thaymount.
Okay. What type of dangers you was talking about? Monsters and critters out here. What could we expect maybe to run into?
Well,
as we travel around the country.
Have you heard of the goats of Thay?
Oh no, what are the goats of Thay?
Thay is full of monstrous, magically enchanted goat fiends of all different types. Oh yes, we got Draco goats, we got invisible polter goats. And we got a horrible monster right near where we are, down in the swamp. If you decide to go in that direction, it is called the Bogmaw, a Hydra goat.
Oh.
That's very interesting. I mean, that was one of the things that kind of drew us to here. We're kind of a little bit of monster hunters and stuff.
I don't know for what reason you'd want to go out and seek the Cragmaw. It is of absolutely no value except to terrorize villages and mercilessly kill people.
Well, we were invited today to kind of help alleviate some of the problems in the areas. And
well, if you were invited here, then you would have papers indicating your status as travelers through Thay, which I imagine you might have misplaced. And you can see that he's kind of just putting his hand out for some coin.
Well, perhaps we should go and take care of the search, and I kind of do the little air quotes if they know what that means. And then we'll help you, and you can help us. Maybe we have a few more questions.
So he leads you to one of his back storage rooms, and it's a really cramped place. It's not really a good room for you guys are squeezing in there. And his security guards come, and he says, "I'll handle this personally, thank you," and dismisses them. And he closes the door as you guys just kind of sit there, and you guys are he's ready to take your coin. He says, "Well, what do you need to know? What's your fancy?"
Well, for one thing, what should we avoid? We don't want to get in this kind of just to say situation again.
He says
the next person we run to may not be as friendly as you.
He looks at you guys and he says, "It's really hard to believe that you've made it this far into the heart of Thay and not,
I know, right?
not even known the basics of how our land runs." He says, "You
we
see,
mostly kept to the wilderness.
he said he's
Camped outside and so on stuff like that."
He says, even so, even if you had avoided all civilization altogether, just crossing the border, you must have crossed the Probity guards. He says, well, let me put it this way. Thay is a police state. He says, everything you do, everyone that lives here or comes through here does not do so without the knowledge and express permission of the authorities. He says, the high authority of Thay are the Red Wizards. What they say goes. We rarely see the Red Wizards, but if you see a Red Wizard, he says, you do not want to be you do not want to be noticed, for they usually do not even see us commoners, but if they notice you, you're in deep. And he puts his finger to his mouth. He says,
well,
below the Red Wizards, we have a government structure. Each province of Thay, as you would call it, is called a Tharch, and each Tharch is governed by a governor called a Tharchion. The Tharchion, once again, has several cenacles that serve him. And the Tharchion controls a police corps in each of the provinces under the direct command of the Tharchion. Here in Eltabbar province, our Tharchion is Almond Halakarian, and his police force is called the Probity Corps. The Probity Corps, I'm sorry, I said Probity. Probity Corps, they're a bunch of mercenaries and thugs, and they'll be happily push you around and rob you just as much as they will do their duties. He says, if you encounter the Probity Corps, I would just do as they say rather than get into any tussle, because they will. There's a lot of them, and they will at a moment's notice report you to the Red Wizards.
What did you say was the name of the governor again?
Almond Halakarian. It's hard to spell, so I'll just write it.
All right. And how do we recognize the Probity in this? And
you'll recognize them, and he describes their attire. They're wearing this ridiculous blue uniform with a feather in their hat.
Okay. How about like I said, we're going to be traveling, or at least trying to travel. We didn't know it was going to be this much trouble, but is there any innkeepers that you know? Maybe inns where we might be able to go without having a lot of trouble?
Well, it depends on where you're heading.
Well, we may head towards that swamp when we first leave out of here. Like he said,
you're that willing. You're that willing to throw your necks to the bog maw?
We may. We'll have to talk about it.
Well,
when we
you won't have to worry about the Probity Corps and the bog maw in the swamp. Nobody goes to the swamp.
Well,
he says, but let me tell you one thing. There's a Probity Corps checkpoint on the way from here to Eltabbar. And most people come through these parts are heading towards the city of Eltabbar. And that Probity checkpoint, there's some corrupt officers there. They will definitely point you out with all those magical items you're holding. He says,
when you say corrupt, does that mean that perhaps they might take a little bit of persuasion to help us along?
They may, but they, like me, are really afraid of those who control them and pay them. What they might do is try to extort you for some more coin or for some more magical items. He says they will most certainly threaten to call Red Wizards if they see what he says. If they see if they see items like that, and he points to Dolrak's magical axe. on your person if you as you walk up to them. He says you certainly look like you certainly look like you have targets on your back.
Mm-hmm. So do you have any other advice to maybe help?
What about going west? What does it look like going west?
Oh, it's heavily policed from there's multiple checkpoints from here to Seoul. He says even worse than the checkpoints going to Eltabbar.
What's the well, first of all, if I was if I was wanting to find some of the wine, of the really good wine here in Thay, where would you suggest I would go for that?
Well, you're in the wrong region for the good wine.
Oh.
Most of our good wine is in Surthe.
Mm-hmm. That's south?
Oh, that's far north. You guys are definitely in the wrong region for that.
Oh, wow. Of course,
it's like most travelers who come through here are generally have business in the city.
Okay. What was the city again?
He says, as a matter of fact, I have a interested party that approached me soon after I began speaking to you folk. He was interested in speaking to you if you're interested. He seems to have possibly some work for you. I don't know what manner of what occupation you do, but you seem to have caught his eye. He's a very wealthy man. He's actually hot secretary to the Senecal of Eltabbar. If you,
I would have no problem talking with him. So to clear this, we are outside of the city of Eltabbar right now.
Yes.
Just outside?
Yes,
okay,
you're
right.
about a day's travel, but I do have to warn you, there's a Probity Core checkpoint right before
that's
you.
What he...
And even when you do enter Eltabbar, I recommend do not head for the high city where the nobles live. Go stay to the low city because you simply don't have the papers for it.
What's kind of interesting is that some guy wants to hire some four random strangers. How did that come about?
Well, you'd have. Well, if you're interested, I can direct him over.
It's never hurt us to talk to him, I don't think.
His name is Prim. He's a frequent customer here, and he's secretary to a Senecal of Eltabbar.
Okay.
Tiny or Dorlock, do you have any questions? Because we've been dominating.
Yeah, when I talk to Prim, I do have a couple of questions. Well, I have one question for Prim when we meet him to see if he can get us some papers if we do whatever he wants us to do.
So we should each deduct $250 from our gold and go ahead.
Yeah, if you want to combine it together, and he takes your gold and he says, "It's just it's an honor, a pleasure doing business with you. And if you wish to stay the night, the rooms are on the house."
I whispered to Neris, I kind of spent all my gold.
What'd you say?
I kind of spent all my gold.
Oh well, I'll make up your part. I'll put your part in. Make a deal.
Hook a guy up.
I'll hook you up. Okay, I took $500 out of mine, so, or 500 gold, I should say. Yes, I think we should go ahead and.
How much do we need?
We need another 500.
Okay.
Yeah, it's quite a lot of gold you're paying for his silence. You don't even know if this guy's gonna screw you over.
Well,
I just deducted 500 from mine.
All right, so I need to deduct 250 from mine.
No, we already took care of it. We covered it.
We're good. Well, if he does, we was going to be screwed if we had to let him search us our magical items anyway. So that's the way I kind of look at it. But all right. So would you introduce us to the fellow that wants to speak to us?
He says, certainly. And he directs you guys back to your table. And after a couple of minutes, this gentleman shows up.
Prim Handor.
Yeah,
okay.
so this gentleman, he's a pale-complexioned, paunchy man in his middle years. He's very much dressed to impress. He's dressed a lot better than rest of the customers here in this inn. And he looks at the four of you and he says, "Well, I think you'll do perfectly." And he sits down. He sits down without even being asked. And he says, "I don't know who you are. I don't know what exactly you're doing here in Thay, but Yago has been telling me that you guys have just shown up here without any papers, a lot of powerful magical items. It just seems, it just happens that I might be looking for a couple of foreigners." Couple of adventurers to help me out on a little something, and got a little something I can offer in return. What do you say?
And what would that be?
He undoes his little man purse thing, and he takes out a really impressive looking gilded stamp. He says, "This here is the stamp of Senecal Nurush Zamaroth is my employer. I am under, I have the privilege of using his stamp to grant you documentation of your employment to him, thus allowing you to travel through Thay unhindered."
And what would that take?
Oh, simple request. Nothing difficult. I need something delivered. And I've been instructed very specifically to find some travelers, possibly adventurers, that are not associated with Thay, that would not know anything of the inner workings of the politics of Thay, outsiders, and that clearly is you. The four of you who have been catching so much attention. Ah, yes, you'd be perfect.
Where are we taking this package?
What?
Where are we going to be taking this package?
I need this package taken into Eltabbar. He says, if you agree, I'll tell you more of the details. And in exchange, he says, I can grant you a legal passage to most of Thay. He says, these aren't forged papers. These are actually this is the stamp of Senecal of Eltabbar.
Can
what do you want to do? We don't have much choice.
Can I roll a insight or something to see if he's
Yeah, you can certainly roll
honest.
you can certainly roll an insight.
That's not bad.
He doesn't seem to be trying to deceive you.
Okay. What's his name? Sir Handor.
Prim Handor. He introduces himself.
Sir Handor. I hand him a coin. I say, if you would go to the bar and get yourself a drink, and while you're there, we'll discuss the matter and hopefully let you know by the time you get back.
Oh, very well, very well. Take your time. I'm in no rush.
Okay. Yeah, my opinion that those papers are invaluable. If we actually get papers that gets us through the checkpoint, that's well worth the money we've already spent, and that kind of takes us further and further into the quest where we need to get more information.
Yeah, before while you guys were in the back with Yago, the innkeeper, he does tell you that there is a way around the checkpoint if you guys if you guys go into the swamp. But he continuously warns you about the Hydra goat inside the swamp.
Yeah, I'm not real interested in necessarily fighting the monster in
The
the
Hydra goat?
swamp. Yeah, especially if we can get through.
This Hydra goat was designed specifically by the person, just for this book. It was designed by Ed Greenwood. It might be a great opportunity. The Ed Greenwood, the guy who wrote Forgotten Realms.
Yeah, all right.
It might. I'm just kidding. You don't have to fight the Hydra goat.
I think, papers are probably the best way to go, being that we're kind of sticking out like sore thumbs here. We might want to try to get some more common clues on our way out of here, just to try to blend in a little bit more.
So what about you, Dorlock? I mean, it's kind of...
I think we need to get the papers. That way, we can walk through nonchalantly without having to keep looking over our shoulder, knowing that if somebody does stop us, we can say we have permission.
Mm-hmm. Well, then I say we go ahead and take the quest, if that's the case.
I mean, just delivering a package, how hard could that be?
Well, I don't know. We're in Thay, so it could be pretty hard.
Oh, that's a question you want to pose to Final Fantasy IV. That's the... Actually, nobody's played Final Fantasy IV? All right, never mind that.
No.
I haven't played Final Fantasy for... Jeez.
They just released Final Fantasy 16. But Final Fantasy IV was like the first Final Fantasy I played.
That was in like 92.
Yeah, a long time ago. And it begins with a story where you're asked to deliver a package to a village, and when you get to the village, the package releases horrible monsters that destroy the village.
I would like to know what is package.
Yes, he says if you agree to the task, then he will reveal.
Yeah, he's going to give us more information.
Yeah, he'll reveal more details.
All right. Any objections?
Meow meow.
So a few minutes later, Prim makes his way back, and he says, "So, you've decided?"
Yeah, we've decided. We'll deliver your package for you.
He claps his hands together and smiles. Wonderful, wonderful. I knew you guys be perfect for the job. He says, "First, let's get your papers taken care of." And he unrolls a whole bunch of parchments that he's been holding in his pack. And he takes your names down and starts writing on the parchments. On each of the papers, he writes that this person in question has the explicit permission of Senecal, and he gives you the name of his employer, Nurush Zamaroth. I can spell it out for you. These names are just Ed Greenwood style names. That's his employer. He is Senecal of Eltabbar, very high rating position. The only person higher than the Senecal is the Tharkion himself. So Nurush is one of the people who work for Tharkion Almund Halikarian. And the papers say that this person in question has the explicit permission of Nurush Zamaroth to carry to conduct business in Thay and in the city of Eltabbar. But then when Prim gets to Tiny, he says, "So this Tabaxi here is emancipated?"
Yes, we'll need papers for that too.
Emancipation papers. I don't know if I can produce that. I suppose I can add a little annotation. Who was his previous owner?
Well, would it be best if we just purchased a collar here in town, and while we were walking around in Thay, to have a collar on him or her?
Slave collar, sure. I can. You can probably find one around somewhere in the city. He says, "How should I record this tabaxi? As emancipated, or if you are a slave, then you must record the owner."
In our customs, we don't really have slaves.
I see.
And we found this tabaxi in unfortunate circumstances after a horrible battle, and we took her in, and she's been our a companion since then. So
says,
as far as
let me give you a
she's
bit.
always been free.
And Prim says, "Let me give you a bit of advice. Either you take ownership or protection of her, or you emancipate her, because tabaxi are very, 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 very high commodities here in Thay. And she, a child tabaxi such as herself in such an excellent shape will pull at least 30,000 gold. So if so if you don't want someone kidnapping her along the way, at least either claim ownership or have her fully emancipated."
Well, from my opinion, I mean, it's a little bit distasteful, but I think that we should probably claim ownership as long as Tiny is okay with it. Otherwise, she's going to be in danger the whole time we're here in Thay.
He says, "And who should I record as the owner of this tabaxi?"
Doorlock.
So
that would be me.
So he's like, she's also she's unbranded as well, and I'm sure if you wish to be her companions and protectors and wish her not to be enslaved, I'm sure you do not want to be branding her. So I just warn you that might stand out as well. But I'll draft the papers for you.
Mm-hmm.
And he drafts ownership papers claiming that Tiny is Doorlock's property. He says, There you have it. Now, these papers should allow you free travel around the province of Eltabbar. I would not leave the province of Eltabbar. Certainly would not go to Hightown with these papers. I am not in authority to give you permission to enter Hightown or go anywhere outside of Eltabbar. He says, but to the task at hand. And he reaches into his pack and he takes out this leather-bound package. Clearly there's something magical of a nature to the package. He puts the leather package and it seems to be something about the size of an envelope wrapped
now you're
up.
breaking up again.
Am I breaking up again?
That time you did, yeah.
All right, let me reset again. All right, I'm back.
Okay.
That's 2 resets. So the package is about the size of an envelope, but much thicker. And it is bound with leather straps. And there is some sort of magic he says. Now, and as Prim hands this to you, he says, I now warn you, this package is magically sealed. And I'm not saying that you don't have the power to unseal it, but if you do, then whoever receives the package will know that you did.
Right.
He says it is meant to remain sealed until it is delivered. Now, where I need you to deliver this package is to a man named Lavas Gurza, and he just clearly he spells it out so you know. Lavas Gurza, apparently he is a bureaucrat employed by the Department of Sewer and Water in the city of Eltabbar, and I've been given express directions to have you go meet him at the Fendelther's Gambling Club. Fendelther. These Ed Greenwood names. Feldanther, not Fendelther.
Yeah, Fandelver's in the Sword Coast.
Yeah, I keep saying Fen because it's like something in my brain, you know, that's hard to get out of your brain.
spending so much time in the Sword Coast and forget about all the other parts of the Forgotten Realms.
He says, it should take you no more than a day to get to Eltabbar, and once you get there, you will go to Lotan. You will go to the market, and there you should just ask around and you should find Fendelter's Gaming Club. Deliver the package, and your responsibility is fulfilled, and these papers should last at least 310 days. That is our deal. And he gives you the package with a smile on his face, seeing that he's completed this task that's been given to him that he probably didn't like doing.
If you don't mind me asking, first of all, what's in here? Do you know?
I do not, and I do not ask that question. Neither should you.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Can I ask who gave you the package?
The package was given to me personally by my employer, Nurush Zamaroth, the Senecal of Eltabbar.
Okay.
His directions were very explicit. I am to find travelers, most preferably those of the powerful adventuring kind that seem to have nothing to do with the complex politics of Thay or Eltabbar to deliver this package.
Do tell, what kind of complex politics, if you care to expound?
Oh, there's plenty of politics. He says, you see, the Senecals of Eltabbar are always vying for power. As is the Tharkion of Eltabbar, once again trying to spread the influence of its province farther than it already is. They are always seem to be warring with one another, always seem to be trying to one up one or the other. Some of them have co-conspirators and supporters among the Red Wizards, those, of course, being the most powerful Tharkions in Thay. And Almund Halakarian, our governor here, happens to be one of them. Personal contacts with multiple Red Wizards. Because I do not know all of the details, but I know that there does appear to be some political shift that has been occurring in terms of Senecals moving up in rank and other Senecals moving down. Also Senecals that are putting down the resistance. One of which is my employer, who's been successful in rooting out the worst resistance fighters in Eltabbar, is moving up in rank. He says, "Oh yes, the resistance. Oh, really sordid affair. A bunch of pathetic commoners who want to overthrow the Tharkion system, overthrow the Red Wizards, and establish what do they call it? Democracy?"
Huh. There seems to always be some in every country, don't you think?
There always is.
Yep, they always want changes. Not satisfied with the status quo.
Yes, but we've had we've put down several resistances before. There've always been a bunch of rebels. They always end up decapitated, mounted up on Thay Mount. Every single one of them. And this one is no different.
Mm-hmm.
He says, as a matter of fact, as my employer, Nurush, he has rooted out resistance fighters everywhere. And he has just been commended for his accomplishments in rooting out one of the leaders of the resistance.
Mr. Handor, do you think that after we complete this mission, maybe we could get a job with him looking for the resistance to help you guys snuff them out?
Well, I can certainly ask. More help is always needed, especially those of the expendable mercenary type that are looking for a lot of gold, which my employer has a lot to spare. And he kind of gives you a big, greedy smile.
Sounds good.
And if anybody else has any questions, go ahead. But I'm wondering if there's a mercantile or something close where maybe we could buy some garb or something, even just a cloak to help us to blend in a little bit better.
He says, well, yeah, you can get some from Sally over there. He says, but even if you were to dress like the Thayans, you clearly do not look like Thayans. You would still be questioned.
Well, we do need to get a collar of some type to give at least the appearance of slavery to our tabaxi.
Well, I'm sure you, since she does appear to be an emancipated tabaxi, I don't think you want the actual enchanted, attuned slave collars.
No.
No, you just simply want a collar that looks like a slave collar, which, of course,
Correct.
Sally can provide you with.
Okay.
Enchanted slave.
What was that, Tiny?
Meow meow. Enchanted slave collars. What do they do, meow meow?
They kill you if you disobey. He kind of looks at you. He looks at you with a deadpan serious look.
I pat Tiny on the shoulder and say, no, don't worry. We're just getting a regular slave collar, which is not much more than would be an adornment.
Leather.
Adorned necklace.
It's not going to hurt you, but it's going to help you to stay safer.
My only other question for him is, it's very interesting that Nerusha has been handling a lot of resistance people. Like, I'm just curious, some names of these resistance people that have been captured.
Oh, I believe we are still looking for the head of the resistance, the one they call the White Snake. But we did recently catch one of her lieutenants, I believe by the name of Hammeroth. He was caught trying to deliver some poisons by at the docks. He's been taken care of.
So his head is adoring the heel, as you said.
Oh yes.
Okay.
I'm sure the Probity Corps has extracted as much information as they possibly could under pain of severe psychological and physical torture from him.
No doubt.
Fair enough. All right.
So Prim excuses himself and points you over to Sally. And you can see Sally's she's selling a whole bunch of different wares, lots of clothing that is typical of the Thayans. She has a big assortment of these slave collars. They're not enchanted, so they're just decorative collars. The slave collars look they range from just like very, very ugly looking iron collars to really fancy slave collars that a really wealthy person with fancy slaves would own, like ones that are jeweled, cost like 200 something gold. I don't have a shop open, so I'm just assuming you guys generally the clothes cost a couple of coppers, so you don't have to go.
Yeah, a couple cloaks I think we need to get, and then
I mean, I have a cloak, and I don't, a cloak's a cloak. So, and he said we're still going to look like
yes,
unfortunately,
because of your racial features, you guys are clearly not going to look like Thayans, even if you dress like them.
yeah, I just kind of want to hide because they made a big point of our items being.
Oh yeah, you guys showed up with your items, with your sword in your scabbard, and Dolrak's glowing magical axe across his back. So when you showed up like that, and his plate mail and all that stuff, yeah, you guys were you made a big splash with that. But if you can certainly go more incognito and hide your magical items, so they're not just obviously right there in front of everyone's eyes. You guys didn't have much of a choice. You were just plopped in here.
So I'm wondering if there's like a leather collar with maybe some costume jewelry on it that won't cost too much, but it kind of looks a little fancy.
Sure. You can find something like that.
I think that's what Because that way it looks like maybe we do.
Yeah, so it doesn't
She's special.
it doesn't look like a slave collar, like a
Right.
big iron shackle with a
Right,
lock
right.
on it and stuff.
Yeah.
It looks a little
Right.
bit more like a jewelry.
Something that'll be comfortable for Tanny.
Right.
I don't know. Tiny Marble Cakes may like the fancy collar with a matching outfit, but also,
Oh yeah, there's a really fancy jeweled collar with like gems and emeralds on it. This is for like the wealthy nobles. It's gilded with silver.
If Tiny wants that, she can buy it herself.
This one costs like 100 gold.
But I'm also thinking, would that make Tiny Marble Cakes stick out even more in Thay?
Yeah, that's why I like the leather with a little bit of jewelry, because it's not showing exceeding wealth, but it's also showing that we think that that we're not just that you're not just a run-of-the-mill slave, I guess.
Something that aligns to the papers that we received.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys get yourself outfitted, and you're sticking out much less at this point. As Yago, after you paid him the whopping 1,000 gold, he's happy to put you up for the evening. Rooms are on the house if you want to spend the evening here.
Okay. It's evening, so we might as well.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to start the journey at night, would you guys? I wouldn't think.
Mm-mm. Yeah, we'll stay all night. Get some food.
Yeah, we can take it out for tonight.
So you guys have a nice, calm, peaceful night. And the next day, you get up. And you're ready to go. You go downstairs to the inn the next morning, and it's pretty empty, except for Yago at the counter. He waves to you as you guys get up, ready to go out.
Oh yeah, and Tiny Marble Cakes will get, while they're getting the outfit, she gets the leather collar with the jewels in it and a matching outfit.
All right, perfect. You can, if you want the item, you can make the item for yourself.
And a leash that can go from the collar to Dolorak's hand. I don't know how extreme that would be, but
Well, you don't probably really need a leash if it's a
Yeah,
magical.
but what happens is
it's a magical
if
collar.
you've been enslaved for a long time, you don't generally need a leash. You just you just follow orders.
Because if you try to run away, you're going to die. So, if it's a true magical enchanted collar, so
yeah, so she'll just act out like she's serving Dolorak.
yes.
Yago says, like I said, don't go in that swamp, okay? And keep a low profile. You don't want to be alerting the Probity Corps or the Red Wizards. And if you meet a Red Wizard, it might be caution might be the better part of valor.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So the party, you walk out of the Stone Wizard Inn and you take a look around you. The whole land and the setting clearly is very different. You guys are very far away from the Sword Coast. You guys are much more inland, far to the east. And this is about 5 years ago. So it's within your lifetime. So you kind of think about, well, you might even exist in this world somewhere. Far away, and this is 5 years ago just from what you've read in the historiophage. You guys take to the road. The road is very well kept. It's a cobblestone road, very well traveled, and as you go along the road heading north towards Eltabbar, you see a lot of kind of caravans going back and forth. You see a lot of noble caravans that seem to be going to town. They're very fancy carriages. And it seems like there's something going on because there's so many carriages going towards town. But they don't really stop to talk to you or anything, so you don't really know. To your right is a big kind of a swampy area. The area that Yago tells you don't go there.
Mm-hmm.
a very foreboding-looking place. But on the road, of course, there's torches that are kept and lit on the road, and you can see that there's couriers running along the road, just keeping the torches lit. So clearly, this is a very well-established, very wealthy area. And as the day progresses, you see the city of Eltabbar, and you can see like chimney smoke, kind of far ahead of you. You guys are on top of the hill. As you get to the crest of the hill, you look below, and you see a huge guard checkpoint. There are these barriers set up. There are at least a dozen guards that you can count at the checkpoint itself. And there are tents on either side of the checkpoints where guards sleep.
And there's still caravans, like...
Yeah, the caravans...
the
caravans get up to the checkpoint. A guard will go up to the checkpoint, talk to whoever's in the caravan, and then promptly just remove the barrier, let them through, and then replace the barrier. It seems like whoever's in these carriages are probably high-ranking people, and they don't give them any trouble. And you can see these troopers, the Probity Corps troopers, they do have some very outlandish uniforms. They have these, like the Catholic Church has those Swedish guards that wear these ridiculous uniforms that are kind of like ruffled, and they're blue and yellow, and they look a little bit like that.
Mm-hmm.
But after while you guys are just checking out the checkpoint, you see a bunch of regular travelers on foot. They don't look like those fancy carriages. They just look like a kind of normal like a small family of about four or five people. They get up to the checkpoint, and you notice that they're treated very differently. The minute they hit the checkpoint, Probity Corps officer gets up to them, you see he's saying something to them, and then he brings them back to the tent, and you can see them getting searched. So they give them a little bit of trouble before they finally let them through.
That is my concern, guys. I know. I hate.
But what you also see is that you see on the very edge, on the right side of the checkpoint, you see that there is a way around the checkpoint through the swamp. But as you've been warned several times by Yago, don't go into the swamp.
We got papers from a pretty important official. I think that we might be safe going through the checkpoint.
So how are you guys kind of carrying yourselves? I know you have the different clothes on. What do you do with all of your items and your weapon and your equipment?
I think that's where we're going to run into an issue, guys. May I make the suggestion of storing our weapons on possibly one of these noble caravans, and then retrieve our weapons after we get through?
Right, Meow Meow Meow. Maybe we should follow the rich guys' caravans and disguise ourselves as diplomats, Meow Meow.
It's not a bad idea. We could act like we're part of the caravan, like as a guard.
Oh, they're not. It's not really like a caravan. It's more like these carriages that go through. They're not all traveling together. It's just separate carriages that kind of go through, and there's several that they kind of go through. And those people in carriages, seems the Probity Corps gives them absolutely no trouble. They just go up to the barrier. An officer goes up to these guys, says a couple of things, and then just lets them through. Because whoever's in these carriages are probably important people.
Yeah, Meow. Maybe you can pretend to be like a wealthy diplomat, Meow Meow.
Well, our clothes don't say that we're wealthy diplomats, I don't think.
That's the only thing. I think we're definitely going to get searched when we try to go in, guys.
We stopped in the last there, meow meow, and picked up some clothes that fit in better, meow meow.
Well, like I said, my feeling is that we got some important papers from a pretty important person. That are these guys going to take a chance of riling us up, of searching us, especially since we have a package? Actually, we could use that as an excuse if we could, put our most magical, most powerful weapons like in our backpacks or what have you.
You take out that package that Prim handed you, and it's bristling with magic. Like, even on the surface, just holding it up, you can see that there's kind of little sparks coming out of it.
So I say that we walk up there with him holding that, with Dorlock holding that, with Tiny being submissive right beside him, and then with him with the papers to allow us to go through in his hands.
We need to show him the package, meow meow. Just show him the papers.
Showing the papers. Well, I think we get the package out that way. It hides the magic of some of the other stuff that we have. That was my feeling.
Work, meow meow.
What's going to stop them from trying to open up the package?
Well, I mean, they do that. It's from the seneschal of the region. And it's to an important person too. Do you think that they're really going to take a chance of opening up the package? I mean, they're scared. They're scared of their government.
Yeah, I hear good reasoning on both sides. I can't, I don't know what to tell you. You guys choose what to do. Whatever you do, just as Yago said, don't go into the swamp. Even though you guys clearly see that you can avoid the checkpoint altogether if you skirt it around the swamp. He's telling you that Hydra Goat is nothing to mess with.
I say we can go through with our papers holding the package. We'll just act nonchalantly. We just act like we're supposed to be there. Confident.
I'll put on that type of performance, sure.
All right, so you guys are just gonna try. You're gonna try to just act like you're not nervous as you walk through the checkpoint. So as you walk up to the checkpoint, let's see if I can do this. Because you guys have different ability bonuses, let me see what happens when I do this. Let's see. Can I roll a group performance check? Let's see. I'm going to roll a group performance check. Oh, we have advantage? Who has advantage? Who's putting advantage?
I mean, I can use an inspiration.
Does the paladin have any advantage for charisma? Isn't that what performance goes by?
I'm looking.
Well,
my persuasion is a +7.
Okay, I'm rolling a group performance for all of you.
I've got expertise in performance, so
we got successes across the board.
Woohoo!
Tiny, you rolled a 33.
Wow.
You critted.
Wow.
He critted it.
I rolled a nat 20.
Yeah.
I have a +13 to performance because I have expertise.
Yeah. You rolled a 33.
I think we got pretty high charisma in this group.
So Tiny looks so much perfectly exactly like one of these servants that they don't even notice Tiny. So when you guys get up to the guard doesn't seem to be on alert. He seems to be pretty relaxed as he sees you, and he kind of takes a look at the four of you, and he says, "Oh, it must be you must be foreigners." He says, "You got papers?"
Yeah, I flash my papers.
So he inspects each of your papers. He also inspects Tiny's paper ownership. He's like, "All right, everything checks out." He says, "I do have to ask you some questions, okay, before I let you in. Where are you headed?"
Eltabbar.
Well, of course, but where are you headed in Eltabbar?
We've been told that we have a package that needs to be delivered to we're meeting a person at the how you pronounce that, Felthanter's gambling club. I believe it's Lava Skirza. Who's meeting us there?
Okay, so he sits there and he actually starts writing this down. He records everything you say. He records your names as well. He says, very well. Where are you coming from?
We just spent the night at the inn down the road.
Okay, very well. He records that down. He says, what is your place of origin?
We have many different places of origin.
Okay.
I'm from the Grey Forest. We're just a band that have met together in different places, and we've just been kind of roaming around together.
We don't really call any place home right now.
Yes, but you must have a whole place of origin, just so I can record this down. And you can see he's just trying to get his work done, so he can let you in.
Waterdeep.
Okay. Oh, kind of strange. It's a big embargo against Waterdeep recently with the war and all. It's kind of strange to have Waterdavians travel down here, but I've seen it before. If you got enough money, we'll let anybody in.
Yeah, we've been traveling for a long time, so
you're not aware of the war. You're not aware of the war that our two countries are fighting.
What's going on at Waterdeep?
We know about the war, but we haven't been a part of it.
Very well.
We don't like to get involved in the politics of things that
We haven't had cell service for a while.
Last question: do you have any high magical abilities, high level magical items, contraband magical materials, or are you harboring any deviant magical users?
Not too high.
No, I have magic. I mean, I'm here protecting. I'm a protector of this dwarf and this young Tabaxi.
He looks at you.
I do have some magic.
He looks at you.
I don't know if you would call it high or not. I'm just a kind of a mid-level sorcerer.
He looks at you kind of exasperated. You have any fifth circle magic or higher? If you do, they must all be recorded.
No.
No, I don't.
Okay, then I need a deception roll because you do have fifth level spells.
Nah, the magic I possess is just my smile. It's
all right, then I'll need a deception on that. All right, so he kind of looks at you, and you can tell that he doesn't really believe you, but he doesn't seem like he wants to detain you here and search you because you guys are just acting so exactly, so well in your role that he doesn't really want to. He says, all right, just go, and he just waves you through.
I flip him a silver. just thanks for your time, sir.
Thank you.
Keep doing a good job.
Gives you a nice wink with that silver, and you guys get through that relatively easy. It seems like because you were acting so naturally and so non-suspiciously that they weren't really interested in actually giving you a hard time. So you guys pass through the checkpoint, and before you are the gates of Eltabbar. When you go up to the gates, you notice that Eltabbar has two entrances. One entrance is the Lowtown entrance, the other entrance is the Hightown entrance, and the carriages are going into the Hightown entrance. You can see that the Hightown entrance has very heightened security. There's guards along the entire path going up to Hightown. It's also called Hightown because it's high on a hill. The Lowtown entrance is just two big, huge city gates that are wide open and anybody can walk in or out.
Well, obviously that's where we're going.
So you guys are heading that way anyway. So after passing through the gates and you enter into the city proper, you see that this is a sprawling city. It's a riot of winding streets and walled compounds, and you have to ask for directions several times just to get to the market. You can see from the hill beyond that there are some really opulent-looking mansions. Obviously, the area you are where the common folk are kind of going about doing their business. And as you enter here, you start seeing that there are a lot of different types of people walking the streets. There's also people that are not human race. But they usually look like they're, they either diplomats or diplomary, they're servants. You do see a bunch of other people of different races wearing slave collars as well. They keep their head down and just do their business. You see a bunch of Probity Corps insignia guards standing guard in each area that you go into. And finally, you make your way to the marketplace, and you ask around for Fandelter's Gambling Club. You are in Dayrath Market, and after you ask a couple people, and they give you instructions through the winding street. You finally come into this it's a really shady looking area inside Lowtown. You guys are very surprised. It looks like a back alley where somebody gets mugged. And by the time you get there, it's already dusk, so you guys are already looking around and clenching your coin purses because you see a bunch of people kind of just hanging out in the shadows, just looking at you, and you don't know if they're cut purses. So you guys are holding on to your coin purses as you walk over to this place. And it's a really unassuming kind of building. It looks like it might have been a refurbished inn, but from the outside, it looks very unassuming. All the windows are boarded up. And you only see a tiny little sign on top of the door that says Fandelters.
Well, guys, I think this is the place, fellas.
Looks like we're here.
Doorlock, you got the papers and the delivery, and I think you should take the lead.
Okay. Well, grab a hold of the door and push it on open.
The door's locked.
Oh.
I'll knock on it.
Okay. I rap on the door about 3 or 4 times.
You first knock on the door, nobody answers, then you knock hard, and then finally somebody answers. And when the door opens, you can hear from the other side there's a cacophony of noise and screaming and yelling. And the person who answers the door seems to be a very heavily armored bouncer. And he says, yes, can I help you?
Yeah, we have a delivery.
For whom?
Lavas Gurza.
Oh, yeah. He's right. Come right in. And as you go in, once again, you enter this from the outside. It looks like it's an old abandoned inn, but on the inside, it's brimming with activity.
Does he show us who Lavas is?
There's a cacophony of noise, and it's a hive of activity. You see that there are gambling tables set up everywhere in this entire establishment, and you see a whole bunch of people. It's a mix of different types of people. You actually see a mix of different races. You see like elves and dwarves mixed in with some Thayans, and they're all sitting there having a good time, drinking, gambling, smoking halfling leaf. It looks like a kind of a off the grid kind of a black market type of establishment, and the bouncer says, "Yeah, right this way," and he beckons that you follow him, and you kind of go around as he's taking you around the gambling tables, more towards the back of the establishment. And the more you go in, the more guards that you see, and you realize that there's a lot of security for this place. Yeah. I mean, of course, the amount of gold that's being exchanged is not surprising.
Yeah.
So as you get closer and closer to the back of the establishment, you start hearing a lot of cheering, a lot of swords clanging, a lot of noise. And the guards, there's even more guards in the back. And you finally get to the back, and there's a gentleman sitting at a table. An old man. He's sitting at a table, and he's got a pile of papers in front of him, and he's just sitting there like shuffling through the papers, signing things and remarking on things and copying things from one paper to another paper. Looks really busy. Looks like clerical work that he's doing. He looks up at you. He's like, yes, can I help you?
Yeah, we have a package for you from Nuresh Zamroff.
He takes the package. He's like, who? But then he takes the package and he looks at it. He flips it over. He looks at the magical sheen and the sparkles, and you see he puts up his hand, and he's casting a spell. He's clearly casting an identify spell on the package itself. He says, "Arcane lock." Then he looks at the four of you. He says, "This package is not for me. It's for Gafna." And he looks at the bouncer. He says, "Why don't you take these four to the back and deliver this to Gafna?" And when he says this, the bouncer kind of has this really kind of uncomfortable look on his face. The uncomfortable look is kind of also delivered by Lavos. He says, "Yes, I'm not the. I know it was my name that was given, but I'm not the actual recipient of this package. They delivered it to me. I just courier it to Gafna. It's Gafna that you're looking for."
Fair enough.
So the bouncer, you guys take the package with you, and the bouncer once again starts guiding you to even more back part of this establishment. And you realize that this establishment from the outside looked like it was like a modest sized inn, but once you are inside, you realize that this is a huge place. It probably takes up all the buildings of the block. It's just the way that this architecture was designed. It has these building faces, but this establishment you're in is actually massive. And as you start moving back, past this back room area, then you get into the area where you hear all these cheers. And as you're passing through, you notice, you look in the back, you realize that there's a big arena back there. And the arena has a whole bunch of pews, and obviously, Tolan, you recognize this right away. This is a gladiator arena. The arena.
John, you're breaking up again.
Let me redo Discord again. Okay. I should be better now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. How much did you get most of that, or did
Yeah, we got to the back room and there's a fighting arena going
Yeah,
on.
so Tolan, you recognize this from your past and your backstory, that this is a gladiator arena. This is a deathmatch blood sport kind of arena. And as you're passing through, you guys can't help but look at what's going on in the arena. There's a crowd of about maybe 100 spectators, all with tickets where they bet. And you can see in the middle of the arena, there's these two horrible monsters. And the announcer comes up and he says, "Ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome to you a battle that takes place only inside the deep reaches of the Underdark. On the right side of the ring, we have the Galth Destructor," and this horrible looking floating eye, with tentacles coming out of it, flies out. And there's on the right side we have the the 3 times champion displacer beast, Tiger Fang. And you see these two horrible monsters come out, and they start ripping each other while the crowd just cheers excitedly. And you guys also can't, and you guys are in like this private fenced off area behind the arena itself, where you can see what's going on in the arena, but it's difficult for them to see what's going on because they have these wooden bars. And you can hear the spectators are kind of yelling back and forth. And one of the spectators says, "I think Tiger Fang should go against the Ibis." And then the other spectator says, "Oh, nobody can beat the ibis. It's a lost cause. You're gonna lose all your money." So he takes you, he skirts you around this whole area, and you guys get into the back room behind that. When you get in the back room, you see a whole bunch of cages. You see, and inside the cages, you see a variety of different monsters. One huge cage has a lumbering troll sitting there. He's sitting there, picking at his weapon. He's kind of sharpening his axe. And then on the side, there's another cage, and you see a tabaxi. It looks like a very elderly tabaxi. Has gray fur. Kind of looks like a tiger. Style. He's got he looks like his fur pattern looks like a tiger. He's got he's decked out with across his chest with these set of daggers. And as you guys walk in, he kind of eyes you and he just grunts. And you walk through that, and then you get in the back. You see a whole bunch of other cages, and then in the back of one cage, you see this kind of strange-looking creature. Looks very different from all the other creatures because this creature doesn't look threatening at all. It looks like a bird, and this bird is in a huge cage, too big for its size, and it's just sitting there, just kind of staring at you. Maybe roll. Whoever's got highest perception, roll a perception check.
See, I have a +5 to perception. Anybody can beat that?
Nope.
Okay.
Not me.
Perception. Let's see. I got +5 as well, so you can go ahead, Tiny.
All right, Tiny. You notice that even though this bird is completely alone inside the cage, you look around the cage and there appears to be a whole bunch of different animal prints all around the cage. This bird is clearly some very prized possession because the bird has its own cage and its own little feeder, separated from all the other monstrous animals that take part in this arena. And then you get to the back. You finally get to your destination. You get to the back of the back room, and there's a young lady. She's relatively young. She looks like she's just in her 30s. She's sitting back on a chair with her legs up. She has a coin in her hand, and she's doing that trick where you just roll the coin down your fingers. That fancy trick. She's wearing some leather armor, and she's got a whole bunch of like throwing daggers in front of her. This is what she looks like. And she looks at the four of you walk in, and then she says, "What's this?" And the security guard says, "Madam, they have a package for you. The package was actually addressed." It was addressed to Lavis, but it's magically sealed. And then you see she has a look of realization in her eyes. She's like, "Oh, I see. Thank you." And she dismisses him. Welcome to Fandelvers. Did I say Fandelvers again?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get that out of my head. That's a problem. It's way too similar to Lost Mind of Fandelver.
Yes.
She says, "Welcome. My name's Gaffna, and my name's Gaffna Bilton, and I'm one of the owners of this establishment. I believe you have a package for me."
Yeah, we do. It's right here.
So you hand her the package. She takes it. She does a little magic with her hands, and dispels the arcane lock on it. Then she unwraps the package, she opens it, and then she takes out a blank sheet of paper. And she looks at you, and she just kind of laughs. So you're the foreigners that Yarush found. Says, pardon this is deception, but the package was not what I needed delivered. It was actually you.
Then how can we serve you?
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. I wouldn't call it serve. I think that what I need to know is, well, who are you, and what are you doing here in Eltabbar? I want to get to know you a little bit. You see, I had Nurash find some foreign adventures that have nothing to do with the business going down here in the city, and I specifically requested some adventuring types good at combat, and looks like you're the candidates that he found.
Well, honestly, yeah, we've had our fair share of combat, but I'm very interested in wine, and I've heard that this land's very fruitful, so I'm very interested in see if there's any new wines that I could sample as well. But yeah, I would be interested in maybe a little bit of combat here or there.
She looks at you stone-faced. She says, "That's bullshit." She says, "No." She's like, "No." She says, "Nobody with magic like yours comes here looking for wine."
That's
says,
kind of a secondary thing. I didn't say it was our primary.
And then she kind of leans over and she says, "We're gonna be honest with each other." She says, "I can, whatever you're looking for, I can probably help you."
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to know if you're somebody that I can trust to help me.
I believe we're trustworthy, yes. We've got this package here thus far.
Well, let's begin with, what you're doing here in the Thay.
Looking for some gold.
Come on. She kind of turns her head to the side. You can tell that she's probably she's kind of well in tuned. She's a smart cookie, and she says, those with power like yours don't generally come to Thay, and you probably wouldn't even be let across the border. So the fact that you can even get across the border without being swarmed by red wizards, it's very impressive. She says, the fact that you're here the fact that you're here right now it means so, because you are exactly what I'm looking for. I just want to know if I can trust you.
Well, trust is kind of a two-way street, and you've not really told us too much about yourself.
She's well, I'll give you something about myself, and we can have an exchange. How about that? She says, well, I, as you know, am Gaffna. I run this establishment over here. We have a little bit of gambling, a little bit of gladiatorship, but what I really am interested in is change. You see, I don't like the way things are run in Thay, and I think most of us would agree, most of us of our social situation would agree that we should not be ruled under the thumb of a bunch of liches and red wizards. He says, I am looking to institute that kind of change. You can say that I'm into counter-government activities. Now, and then she leans over and she says, now, just telling you that would put my head on a pike. So I've shared quite a bit with you. Now, why don't you tell me what you're doing in Thay?
I guess I'm the spokesman. Can I roll?
No, you can. Any of you can talk, sure, and certainly you can certainly roll an insight.
Just to see if I can maybe see whether she's on the up and up, or.
Well, there you go.
You think she is being honest with you? She's certainly holding a lot back. You get the idea that she's testing you.
I'm just going to be blunt with her and say, on the down low, are you with the resistance?
Oh, Joe, you just got to say resistance, and then
yeah.
She looks at you. She doesn't answer your question, but she puts her finger to her lips.
And then I just do a wink and a nod.
We may have interests that run along together with one another then.
She said, I had figured. And she says, as you may have guessed, Nurash, Senecal Nurash, is also in the resistance. Even though he is well known for one who persecutes the resistance, he does that as it is a cover for him. Because the more you seem like someone who is willing to persecute the resistance, the less you are of suspect. He says he has never harmed a resistance member, and he's a high-standing member of our resistance. And that is why he is the one that has been able to find you.
Well, like I said, that kind of parallels part of the reason why we might be here in Thay, and we would
Well, please
enjoy hearing the whatever it is that you would like for us to do for you.
She says, please elaborate why you're here in Thay.
To be honest, if we were to tell you the whole truth, you just wouldn't believe us.
She kind of looks at you and she says, well, try me.
Well, honestly, it does have something to do with disrupting the current power base.
Well, that I like to hear. Now, in what way?
Well, you can understand that we're a little hesitant at this point in time since we just met. Now, I feel like I trust you. I don't hear any deception in your voice or anything like that, but I'm not really the leader of this group right now. But,
then I can yeah. She says I can understand that. You certainly may not want to tell me everything, and I certainly am not in a position to tell you everything. But from my experience and my general broad experience in life, trust is based on working together towards a common goal, and based on partnerships. So perhaps if we were to work together on some common goals, we can perhaps build more trust in which we may be able to tell each other more about what we need done. And we can leave it here. We can leave our motivations here as we have a common goal. What do you say to that?
That sounds good to me, but
excellent.
How about the rest of you? Okay.
She says,
yes, I'm all for the working together and coming out with some sort of plan to take care of business.
She says, you see, I have big plans. I have big plans for the week ahead. And I would like to see if you are people that I can involve in these big plans. And I think that if you are, and you can help me, I can certainly, whatever you need in Thay, I can certainly help you.
That sounds very good, actually. What is it that you need from us?
Well, before my big plans take place, I have a few tasks that I need done, and I do need to see that you're able to carry out these tasks. For you see, the Red Wizards, in their cruelty, have many times tried to instill double agents in our ranks, and I need to make sure that is not the case with you. He says, but these tasks, should you complete them, will certainly clear that up. She says, I have 3, and you can do them in whichever order you please. You see, there is a dinner party that is going to take place in Hightown, in high society. I can get you into this dinner party. I have some information that I need to be extracted. Secondly, he said, some of my agents, some of the agents that I use to go in and out of town to carry information have disappeared. Usually we have a route through the sewers through which we carry this information, but these agents that have gone into sewers have not come out. And I simply lack the manpower to conduct a full search. I want to know if they've been captured by the Probity Corps or something worse. And then she says, finally, I have an agent that's been captured by the Probity Corps. I'm sure of this. Agent by the name of, how many names are there? Jigor. And if and he has information that if it were to go out will destroy us all. He says, if you can help me with these tasks, I can tell you my entire plan.
I don't think those tasks seem to be too daunting. I mean, we have to get started somewhere, and it sure would be to our advantage to have someone within Thay that could help us out. So
that
as far as
certainly
I'm
would
concerned.
be me. And those papers you were given by the papers that you were given by Nourish, they won't get you that far. If
Yeah, he told us that.
Under close scrutiny by the Probity Core, if you were to say go to Hightown, try to leave Eltabbar, those papers won't hold. I can get you better papers.
Okay. I mean, like I said, as far as I'm concerned, it sounds fair to me. And I'll just put forth right now, I think maybe we should go trying to find out what happened to the agents that went into the sewer first.
I agree.
That'll maybe give us a little bit of an idea of the layout of the city and so forth.
You guys hear a bang behind you.
A jump.
Gafna seems to be completely unfazed.
What was
I
that?
grab my battle axe.
She looks over. She's like, I'm not sure what that was.
You turn around. What is it?
Is it behind us or behind her?
I have my battle axe ready.
It's behind you guys.
I'll turn around. Is there anything that we see?
You turn around and you hear, this is probably in the room that you guys were coming through before you got into her room, and you see some figures moving around, something rustling.
What do you think that is out there? Could it be one of the gladiators?
She says, perhaps.
I'll walk over the door and look out.
You walk over to the door and you look out, and the cage that the ibis was in, the cage is open.
Oh.
And the ibis is nowhere in sight.
I think you're missing your bird.
She kind of looks at you and she gets up very slowly. And you see that she walks over to the cage. She looks around and she's like, that ibis is deadly. And then you can see that when she walks over there, since you guys are still in the room that she's in, she just kind of backs away and disappears in the shadows.
Could we see which direction she went?
You know which direction you went, but you'd have to go into that room that the ibis is in.
Well, I have my battle axe already ready, and I removed the leash from Tiny's collar, and I wind it around my hand. She says she put a leash on it.
Oh. Okay.
And I wrapped it around my hand, and I stuck it into my pouch.
All right, so are you guys ready to walk into that room?
You saying that's the direction she went, did you say?
Yeah, yeah, she disappeared. Okay. She actually, it seems like she's a very skillful, you're not sure what she is, but she's very skillful in the shadows. She's a lot more than she lets on.
Yeah. Gafna, are your people going to take care of this, or are we going to have to provide assistance?
She doesn't say a word. She disappears.
In the other room, wasn't there people in there or no?
That one of the guards, the bouncer that brought you here, he left. He went that direction, but he's gone now. You guys are alone in her quarters.
Well, Doorlock, I think we need to head in there. We need to help her out if we're going to gain her trust.
I'm on it.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to walk into the room.
So the four of you go into the room, and when you walk into the room, you can see perched up on one of the cages is that scarlet ibis, and it stares at you. It lets out a loud screech. And we roll initiative.
I thought we might get through a whole night without rolling initiative.
Cast Cure Wounds, upcast level 2 on Tolan. Cure Wounds is. That was my main.
Oh, nice 21 points of healing on Tolan. Very much needed.
And then she's gonna give Bardic Inspiration to Dolrak.
Okay.
Action, and that will be my turn.
All right, Neris, you're up.
Yeah, I am going to cast my spiritual weapon, Watcher's Punishment.
Very well.
Let's see, effect on myself.
There's no tokens, so just
Right.
we know you got it.
So, and as far as position, I'm going to position it behind the Ibex.
Yeah.
And kind of in the middle of the room or whatever, so that way if it moves, I can move with it, and then I'm going to go ahead and attack the Ibex with the aforementioned weapon. Okay.
That's a hit on the ibis.
Ibis, not the Ibex, my bad. So it does, I cast that as a 3rd level, by the way, so I'll do 2 D8 of damage, and I'll take a 3rd level slot off of my list there.
You whack the ibis. It actually is a lot tougher than it looks. It takes that hit with stride.
Okay, and then I'm going to kind of back into the position where I was at, kind of hiding behind the door, waiting for my next opportunity to pop out and attack somebody.
Okay. Dolrak, you're up.
Okay. I'm assuming we're all still within about 10 foot of each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
you don't have to worry so much about the specific position. Generally, if you want to do something, you can when we're in Theater of the Mind. The whole idea is that you don't have to sit there driving yourself crazy thinking about where everything is. Just in general is fine.
Okay, well, I'm just going to pull out my battle axe and make a attack.
Oh, you critically hit the ibis.
Critical it.
Nice.
Then I'm going to use a Divine Smite, a level 3. And
oh, that's going to hurt. Ooh, look at all them dice.
It's a big hit on the ibis.
did that do the thunder damage also?
Yes, it did.
Okay. Oh, I see it right there. Okay. And for my second attack, I'll do the same thing. Another critical? No. And it's a hit. And And that completes my turn.
All right. Dolrak, as you're smacking away at this ibis, from the other direction, something else smacks into you. But it misses. And from yet another direction, you feel something just kind of, it feels like like maybe the hilt of an axe or something. It just kind of goes up against your chest and it's trying to lift you off the ground. So we got a contest. I need you to roll a flat strength check.
Okay. Oh, that sucked.
Unfortunately, you get hoisted up by something you can't even see, and it's not the ibis. The ibis is you just smacked it down. Something hoists you up and you get hurled into the wall on the other side of the room, right next to the cage. You do take some bludgeoning damage as you fall down, as you get hurled up in the air. Now you're not right next to the ibis anymore. You have no idea what it was. There's something. There's some sort of a horrible magic at play here.
Anybody got see invisible?
I do.
Or a spell or something?
Tolan. You're just minding your business, doing your thing, and something smacks into you real hard. Oh my goodness.
I'm getting all the criticals today. Holy
You got 2 crits in a row. Hit by 2 crits in a row. Oh boy. And you don't have that Dolrak's resistance to force damage. Oh man. Okay, it's your turn.
I yell out to Dolrak, when did you learn how to fly? What was that all about?
I don't know, brother.
Really concerned about this thing that just did I hear footsteps or anything?
You can roll a perception to see what you saw or heard. There are hoof prints on the ground. Fresh hoof prints that were just made as you got hit.
Alright. I will cast Green Flame Blade onto my rapier.
Okay.
And I am going to try to attack this thing that is invisible.
If you're attacking this thing that's invisible, then you just make a disadvantage attack. I'll tell you if you hit. You know the general area, so you can try to attack it, but it's going to be at disadvantage.
Yep.
Uh, 19 hits. You do so. Your blade connects with something.
All right. And all the damage.
Okay, this thing that you hit takes 8 damage. And it you say it translates to things around it, right?
The flame is also going to go and damage the ibis.
Okay. How much? 8 or 4? 4. Now it's not just the ibis, but it's anything around that thing that you originally hit, or just one creature.
Oh, only one creature that I can see. I can't see the other creature.
Oh, that's true.
And then, so that was my first attack. And then my second attack, I'm just going to do a attack against the ibis.
That misses the ibis.
And that will be the end of my turn.
The ibis looks at you. Dolrak has been hurled across the room. You're the only target it's got now. Two talons and a beak.
Yep.
Talon misses. Talon misses, and a beak. Beak misses. You manage to bob and weave all the Scarlet Ibis's attacks. Tiny, you're up.
Okay. I see that Tolan is pretty badly damaged, so again, so I'm gonna do what I did last turn, and I am going to cast Cure Wounds on Tolan, upcast the 2nd level.
It was not a good roll compared to last time.
Roll, but... And then I'm gonna end my turn.
Naris, you're up.
Okay, I think I will attack as a bonus action the Ibis with my Ibix. I keep wanting to say that with my spiritual weapon, Watcher's Punishment. Let's say, damn you, foul bird!
That's a hit on the Ibis.
Okay, damage. It is Ibis.
Yeah, it's Ibis.
Get it right. There we go.
Oh, quite a wallop.
Okay, and I'm going to, as my regular action, I'm going to cast. I'm spending a. No, I can't do that. Can't do that in that order. I just want to duck behind the door again and wait for my next turn.
Dolrak, all the way on the other side of the room where you got hurled.
Okay, I'm going to, my action is to use See Invisibility.
Okay. As you cast See Invisibility, 3 flying goats show up. They are clearly some sort of ethereal goat. They look like a goat, but they're not. You know, they're also like partly ghostly, and they are hovering around the Ibis.
Okay. How far am I from the Ibis?
You can reach any of the enemies.
I can.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I won't have to move. Am I in enough range that I can back away without taking attack of opportunity?
Yeah, you're on the other side of the room.
Okay, so I'm going to move 10 feet more back away from the group and end my turn.
Okay.
Because I can't make a attack with my battle axe.
Dolrak, you see one of these floating goats starts hovering down, looks around, and it sees Tiny, and you see it's going after Tiny. The goat, in the air, it kind of positions itself with its rams forward, and it seems to do like this flying attack from like an obtuse angle, and flies towards Tiny, slamming into Tiny with a forceful slam.
Watch out, Tiny!
But just as you warn him, Tiny says what, and the goat misses.
Now, are these goats visible at this point, or no?
Only to Dolrak, who has See Invisibility.
Okay.
And finally, there's the last goat. You see it's going after Naris, even though Naris is trying to hide. The goat appears to go through walls. Quite unfortunate.
There's a poltergeist coming at you. Poltergeist.
Poltergeist.
Oh, it's gonna hit Naris.
I want to cast a shield as a reaction.
All right.
I was gonna say.
But technically, you can't even see it hitting you. But you don't. I don't think shield says that you have to see the enemy hitting you in order to cast it. Okay,
Since I warned him, he had an idea.
So 22 does that put your shield puts you above 22, correct? Because that's his attack.
My
Okay.
shield puts me at 23.
So Neris casts shield, and the goat slams against his shield, and you can see it's just flying up in the air again. Only Dolrak can see it. Poltergoat number 2. This is the one that's been attacking Tolan, and it's gonna go what it's gonna do actually is it goes down to Tolan, and it tries to grab Tolan and with its horns to hurl Tolan out. So Tolan, I need a strength check against this goat.
Good thing that's my highest ability.
The goat does a 17. Tolan, you get hurled to the other side of the room. You slam against the wall. You take some bludgeoning damage from falling. But it's only 1 point of damage, so you're okay.
So I'm over near the other side of the wall.
At least it wasn't critical.
Tolan, now it's your turn.
Getting beat up quite a bit. I am going to cast mirror image on myself to create some duplicates.
Good idea.
Hopefully. And then unfortunately that is going to be it. Yeah, that'll be it.
Alright, seeing
Stand up if I'm on the ground or whatever.
seeing that you've been hurled across the room, the Scarlet Ibis now looks for a new target. The next person in line is Tiny Marble Cakes. He flies up to you, Tiny. What?
What's up, Tiny?
Dolrak, you moved back, you said.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Tiny, 2 sets of talons and 1 beak at you.
Okay.
Talons rolls a 16. That's going to hit. Second set of talons, 15. That's going to hit. All right, here comes the nasty one, the beak. The beak rolls a nat 1, and it you manage to dodge at least the beak. Now the ibis is fluttering around across you.
Tiny, do you have mage armor?
I don't think I do.
Oh, I thought you had it. Okay.
Gregory had it, but not Tiny Marble Cakes. Alright, what am I doing for health? Okay, not too bad. Alright, I'm pretty sure... Alright, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna target the ibis, and I'm gonna try to cast Calm Emotions.
Sure, roll it against the ibis. The ibis fails, and you can see it begins to flutter, and it kind of starts backing away, no longer aggressive. Congratulations, you pacified the ibis.
All right.
And as you do this, Dolrak, you see that these floating goats, they all also calm down, and they kind of enter the cage, thus ending combat.
Whoa!
All right.
There you go.
Way to go, you old slave. You.
Close the door on the cage and lock it.
And when you do this, you hear a clapping from behind you as Gaffna reappears.
I kind of figured that.
She looks at all of you and she says, "That ibis has killed hundreds of people, and you bested him without even destroying it. I'm very impressed."
We work as a team.
Oh,
You-
shucks.
You know that's a cursed ibis. Upon its death, it spreads the curse to all around it.
Ooh. That's bad.
She says, "I apologize for I apologize for the theatrics, but I need to make sure that you're up to the task."
Yeah, we knew it was a cursed ibis.
She says, any healing that you need, we'll provide it for free, but I needed to make sure that you had the capabilities to do what I need you to do.
Mm-hmm.
And she just snaps a finger and the lock locks on the ibis cage.
I kind of.
She says that what I have in store, what my plans are within the next 10 days. She's like, I need to know that whoever is helping me is only the most dedicated, hardened, fastened adventurers I can find.
Well, I think we're the ones you're looking for.
I mean, we knew it was a test, and we just wanted to show all our skills and everything, but we knew how to take that thing down pretty easily if we needed to.
I'm sure you did.
So, I guess we get back down to business.
She hands you guys a key. She says, "Here, take this key. You guys, there's some quarters in the back you can use."
And what was the key for?
They're your personal quarters inside.
Oh.
While we're hanging around here.
Fendelter's gambling club.
Okay.
She also provides healing services for the wounds that you took fighting the poltergoats and the ibis.
Sounds good.
She says once you get fixed up and healed, come back to me and we can discuss your quest.
All right.
It's evening, so I'm assuming we'll go back to our rooms and rest.
Yeah. So you guys are able to go back and take a long rest. Also, in Fendelter's gambling club, you're also able to buy supplies if you should need something. You can open up a store for you.
Okay, that would probably be good.
All right.
So now that you've passed Gaffna's test beyond her expectations, because you managed to kill this ibis without incurring the curse of the ibis, which it's clear that she was actually gonna try to get you infected with this curse to hold it over you as some form of blackmail, because she still clearly doesn't trust you so much. But since you've more than exceeded her expectations in this battle, she feels it's not even necessary to have this to hold leverage over you. So she trusts you to at least go undergo her tasks.
Mm-hmm.
And as she had said, there are 3 tasks that she has for you to undertake, and you can do them in whichever order you like. The first task, she told you, there is a dinner party in the rich noble quarter, and she can get you access. She needs you to infiltrate the dinner party and get information for her.
You're dropping off again, John.
Oh, really? I'm sick of this this Discord thing. All right. I hope this is the last time I have to do that this evening. So that's the first task. The second task is that there are missing resistance agents that have gone into the sewers and not come out, and she needs you to go investigate. The third is that there is an agent that has been captured by the Probity Corps, held in a secret location, and she needs this agent either rescued or silenced before the information that he holds leaks out, because that information can bring down the entire resistance. And she says these all three tasks need to be done in the next 2 days. Within the next 2 days.
Okay.
So you guys choose which task you'd like to undertake.
Well, I think we was gonna go down to the sewers first.
You like the sewers?
Right, guys?
The sewers quest?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, help us get a lay of the land.
I'll just to John, whenever we rest, if I still have sorcery points in the slots left, I would want to cast mage armor on both me and Tiny, and using extended spell, which extends it to 16 hours instead of 8.
Okay. Are you able to cast mage armor on 2 people at the same time? Isn't there a limitation?
I'm going to do it when we rest, so I can cast it on me and then cast it on him, which would take 2 sorcerer points to extend it and 2 of my slots to cast it.
But are you allowed to cast to have 2 of them in effect at the same time?
It's not a concentration.
My armor class is 16 without mage armor, so with mage armor it would be 13 plus. And I'm wearing the glamored studded leather armor.
Oh, you got armor? Well, never mind then. But I'll cast it on myself then every night and extend it, so
sure,
I don't have to use up a slot for the next day.
Sure, that makes sense.
To let you know. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it wouldn't do him any good. I thought it would. I didn't know he was wearing armor, so.
So, you guys kind of approached Gaffna about undertaking this quest with inside the sewers, and she elaborates a little further. She explains that the main way that she and her associates move around Eltabbar freely is through the sewer system, an ancient system built underneath the city of Eltabbar. This was actually built here when this was a different city way back in the past. It's very rarely even maintained. However, one of the people who maintain it is Lavas, obviously, because he's the bureaucrat, head of the sewers. So because he's kind of associated with Gaffna, and he's kind of works secretly with her, so he keeps any prying eyes away from people traversing the sewers, so that she and her people can move through it. And she says there's a very important shipment that she needs moved through the sewers. And the problem is that every contact that she's sent into the sewers to establish this shipment has gone missing. She needs the contact established within 2 days. And she needs to find out if there's something in the sewers that's dangerous. She can't move this package, this payload throughout the sewers. So she needs to know that it's safe down there to move things around, and she wants to know what happened to her agents.
Okay.
So she would like you to investigate, discover, and hopefully eliminate whatever source of danger is in the sewers.
Okay.
And you're saying there's a chance the Probity Corps is possibly down there? She
doesn't think so, because Lavas, which is her associate, the guy you met before, he is it's his charge to maintain the sewers, and he makes very sure that the authorities don't detect anything down there. So that's why she's pretty sure it's not the authorities. Okay. But because these sewers are ancient, it could be a variety of horrible monsters down there. That's why she needs strong adventurers that can take down the poltergeists to go down there and explore.
Fair enough.
And she does warn you, the sewers network is a maze. In the ancient sector of the network is a bit of a maze. She only knows the route that she uses, and she and her agents use to move things. but she doesn't. When it comes to the ancient section of the sewers, the deeper section, it's a bit of a labyrinth, and there's no known maps of it because it's so old. So if you venture into the deeper parts of the canal, and you'll know it's the deeper parts because the stone architecture will change. If you venture into those parts, it may get even more dangerous because you don't have a good map of where to go.
Mm-hmm. Did you open up a shop?
What shop do you need?
I was kind of looking for some magical scrolls.
Low-level magical scrolls, high-level magical scrolls.
Yeah, like
high-level magical scrolls are very contraband. I might have to up. I might have to.
No, it's low level.
Okay.
It's the
invisibility.
Yeah. I opened it up. Yeah, the high-level magical shop is contraband, so I might have to increase the.
Okay.
Increase the prices on the stuff because it's contraband.
It'll take me a minute to get through the list. Fairy fire, dude. We got that. That's what I'm looking for.
What is it?
Fairy fire.
Fairy fire?
I have that.
Yeah,
spell.
since you guys got hit with some invisible monsters.
You got that spell?
I think
Tiny?
And yeah, I think I.
Well, you should have casted it.
Yep, I have it.
But he was afraid he was going to cast it above one of us, also, who can also.
Well, it probably would have filled the whole room because it's an area of effect.
There's a range of 60 feet. What's the area?
You guys might want to invest in some scroll of sea invisibility.
Well, that's what.
There's 5 available. That does the same thing.
It also gives us advantage on attacks against creatures.
I gotcha.
But I might go ahead and get one of them anyway, or 2 of them.
There are 151 gold pieces, and there's 5.
The invisibility.
I don't see the scroll of fairy fire.
Well, if we don't need it, if Tiny has the actual spell himself. Okay, I bought 2 scrolls of invisibility, and I'm done, and somebody else can go in there if they want to. Yeah, if Tiny's got that spell, that'll come in handy if we run into invisible.
The magic scrolls, sparkles and shimmers, arcane lab. That's the place.
Yeah, that's the only shop that he opened.
Got here.
Hey John, can you check and see if that effect that I wrote for the immune to crit, right? Do you?
Let me see. I'm not sure you can have an effect like that.
I looked it up, and that's what they suggest in the forums. It says add an effect of immune. Critical to the player's actions tab.
Generally, when you had an immune effect, it has to be all capital. Let me see. Let me look into my database of effects and see if there is something like that.
Nothing in there in particular that
Oh, yes, there is. So the way you wrote the effect, let me change it so it's correct. So this is how you have to write it.
Capital. Okay.
Not just capital, but also colon. Immune.
Okay, the colon between immune. Well, that's how I have it, but not. Let's see.
So, you see that? I just changed it. So that's how it's supposed to look.
So it's lowercase?
Yeah, the critical is lowercase, but the immune part has to be capital.
Okay.
Sweet.
Let me See, it's not showing it capital on mine. I go ahead and make it capital.
Yeah, just go ahead and make it capital.
Immune has to be all caps then, is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
yeah. Immune, critical.
Immune.
You don't need those 2 semicolons after it. The semicolon before it you need because that separates the words you write in versus the actual script. But the semicolons
But in
after...
the script, the semicolon in the script, there is only one, and I don't know why it's showing 2.
You have semicolons at the end of it. There, I just deleted it. There you go.
So it automatically puts in the semicolon.
Yeah. So if you put in another semicolon,
Okay.
it'll do weird stuff. So now it should work. It's hard to test because I have to keep rolling against you until you get a crit.
Right.
But we'll find out once you get crit.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's not true. I can... No. That's just a pain. I can do a custom roll of a custom roll and force a 20, but then I have to... That's a pain. I don't want to do that. We'll find out when you get crit in the future.
Oh, yeah.
It's easy that way.
I figured, I had a chance, I went and wrote that. Because I looked it up.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was a script, but it looks like it is a script, so it should work.
And then it should just make it regular damage.
Right. What were the points that we're supposed to be doing in the sewer? I just accidentally deleted them off my notes.
I was gonna say the party that she invited us to. When is that?
That party is tomorrow in the evening.
Okay, so if we do the...
You have time to do all 3 tasks for her. Just the question is which order.
Do the sewer task in the morning and then...
What was the, how you spell the guy's name that's captured in the captured agent? It was like Gygor or something?
Igor. I'll write his name in the thing so to make it easier.
Yeah, please. Thank you.
His name is Igor Raxia. He is a resistance agent that was captured by the Probity Corps. Because the Senecal Narush, who is actually secretly a resistance fighter, because he's in a really difficult position. He has no choice but to sentence this resistance captive resistance fighter to death, because doing anything else would bring suspicion on him. So this guy's sentenced to death, but he knows some secret information that if it were to go out would bring down resistance. So the task is to either rescue him or make sure he doesn't talk.
Jugor probably knows where our red wizard Sharana is. That we are
Sirana,
trying to find.
possibly.
Possibly.
But you haven't revealed anything of your true task to Gaffna yet. And her agreement is that, well, you trust her and she trusts you, and, you guys build a better working relationship, then maybe she'll reveal all of her secrets and you can reveal your secrets. So that was what you agreed on.
Sounds like a plan. Everyone all set?
I'm set.
All right.
What was the things that we had to accomplish in the sewer? Because I accidentally deleted them.
Well, in the sewer is the primary means by which Gaffna gets in and out of the city of Eltabbar and travels around the city of Eltabbar. that they know all the routes through the sewer that lead from one district to another district and out of Eltabbar. However, recently, agents have gone missing in the sewer. So she needs you to find out what has caused these agents to go missing. She's pretty certain that the authorities are not down there because Lavas, which is her associate, he's in charge of the sewer system, and he makes very well certain that the Probity Corps never go down there. So she doesn't think that it's authorities capturing them. She thinks that's something more nefarious. So whatever is the threat down there, she needs you to find it and eliminate it because she plans to move some very special items through the sewer very soon. And it has to be kept safe. So if there's a threat down there, it has to not be there when these items are moving through.
Okay. Got it.
Seeing that you are capable adventurers, she believes you're best equipped to handle the task. She unfortunately is very low on men. A lot of the resistance fighters have recently been captured by the Probity Corps. Some of them have been executed. So she is really down on manpower right now. That's why she actually asked for adventurers and asked for Nurush, the Senegal, to find her some adventurers that are not associated with the politics of Thay.
So I think we would try to get as much information from Gas on like roughly where in the sewers. Because we don't know anything about the
I don't have a map for you, but she certainly gives you the map that she is aware of in the sewers on her routes. And she shows you that her agents that have been moving through the sewers, they've actually been taking the route in the south end of the sewers that leads to outside the city of Eltabbar. That's where they were moving when they went missing. And this is 4 or 5 agents already. She lost an agent there. She sent another 2 agents to find them. They went missing. And then she sent a whole bunch of agents. Like she sends 4 agents down there, and they all went missing. So after this, she has no more agents to spare, and she's afraid that the sewers might be compromised, probably with some sort of threat. She says that there's an ancient section of the sewers, which is also near that area, that is unmapped. She says if there's some monsters down there, unfortunately, if you traverse down there, you don't have a map of to know where you're going.
Okay. I would say we head to the sewers, guys, and in the direction that where the guy disappeared.
All right, so the quickest entrance to the sewers is right from the gambling club. They have a cellar, and the cellar has a direct entrance in the sewers. That's how they bring things in and people in and out of Eltabbar. And the direct when you first go into the sewers, as you first traverse the sewers, the route is very obvious because you actually have a map. And you follow the map, and it's relatively uneventful. Obviously, it's the sewers, so it's not a pleasant place. But you kind of look around. There doesn't seem to be anything unusual. There's a bunch of rats and snakes and, the sewer-dwelling things. But nothing that seems very outstanding or unusual in your way going down. So after about 40 minutes or so, you actually make it to the south end of the sewers where those people went missing. You look around, and you don't see anything at first. Everything looks as it did before. Oh, what would you like to do in your to begin your investigation?
As we walk in, we're checking out the walls and stuff, and we're looking for anything that could be unsafe and hazard to our health.
So Dolrak, you start checking out the walls. Do you have some dwarven skills with walls? I don't remember.
I have dwarven skills with stonework.
Oh, okay. I think the stonework dwarven skills do apply. I think you can roll the You can roll it with advantage.
I think it's called stone cutting.
Yeah, stone cutting.
Whenever you make an intelligence history check related to the origin of stonework, you are considered proficient.
Yeah, even though you didn't grow
check.
up with dwarves, just being a dwarf just naturally gives you that knowledge, I guess. You can roll it with you can roll that check with advantage. It's a history check with advantage.
History.
He was always fascinated by church temples being made out of stone afterwards. Why is it?
Dude, I got that sucks.
Dorak, you do realize that the stonework in this part of the sewers is very recent, and the way that the stonework is placed means that it is placed over older stonework.
So there could be some hidden doors behind this new stonework, guys. So we need to be observant and look for some hidden doors.
That's kind of Tiny's thing.
What else would you like to do?
Do we hear anything?
Well, besides regular sewer noises,
right.
Sludge and rats and things along those lines, you don't hear anything. You look around. You don't see any signs of anybody being attacked or anything like that. You don't see any bodies.
So is this type of sewer that has a channel that runs down the middle and then kind of
the
pathways on each side?
Yeah.
Do we see any footprints or anything on the pathways? And is there anything like on the ceilings that we can see?
You can search the pathways. Let me see what kind of ability would I think most appropriate. I will accept. Let's see. I'll accept the perception. I'll accept the survival. They have different DCs.
Okay. Well, I think I'm best on perception, so I'll go ahead and do that one.
You do notice that on the floor, some parts of the floor seem to have more slime than others. But beyond that, it's hard to notice anything different.
Does it like leave a trail?
Not a trail, but you do see that some parts have a lot more slime than others.
So if I look up, do I see a source of the slime from the ceiling or anything?
Oh, the slime is just all over the sewers. It's just part of the decor.
But there's more in certain spots.
Yeah, other spots. There's a couple of patches that don't have much slime at all.
So that's where they could have drugged some bodies. So we need to go to that area and look for a secret door.
That could be I was gonna say that could be where there are some secret doors or something. So, like I said, that's kind of Tiny's.
Well, these are spots on the ground. So you go over to those spots and you kind of look around. The floor beneath is the same.
Is there any loose stones on that wall beside the smudges on the ground?
Though there don't appear to be any loose stones.
While we're sitting here scratching our head, can I ritually cast Detect Magic?
Sure. You cast Detect Magic, and you get a very, very faint trail of evocation magic that seems to kind of come out, go into the channel of water. It comes out of the channel of water. It kind of briefly strips into the channel of water, but ends there. The problem is there might have been some sort of magic, but it's been too long to get a strong signal.
Well, I point out the direction of where.
Yeah, it's in the channel of water. So once it enters the water, you have no idea.
So then, where the floor was kind of clear.
Yeah.
Tiny checked the walls in that area to see if there's any hidden ledges or hidden doors or anything like that. Did he find anything?
No, there's no hidden ledges or anything like that there.
I think we just carefully follow maybe the trail left by the evocation magic.
The evocation magic kind of starts off somewhere near those empty patches on the ground, but ends up in the channel of water, and there's no, and it ends there.
So maybe something. Does evocation, is that like can it summon creatures?
No, it's elemental magic.
Yeah, but there's some other things that apply, like Wall of Force and stuff, and Disintegrate. Also, no, Disintegrate's Conjuration, I think. I don't remember.
No, Disintegrate's Transmutation.
Okay. So yeah, there's some other things that evocation can do.
So I was just wondering if something was cast there, created there, and then went into the water, perhaps. I don't know. I'm not.
That's possible. What else would you like to do?
Are we headed in the north?
At this point, you think you're headed like more southward in this dungeon?
I said we'll continue to go a little farther south,
and stealthily
and observantly.
Okay, so you continue to go southward, and according to the map that you have, if you keep going south, the channel ends up outside of Eltabbar, draining into the swamp that you guys came in from before. Remember with that crag mall? That's where it drains into eventually, if you were to continue in that direction. Now, as you start going down south, you see passages that branch off from the main channel. And Gaffna told you these passages, some of them lead to the ancient parts of the sewers that were there before the modern sewers were built. You can see that some of the stonework has cracked open and opened up passages into other parts of the sewers, the older parts of the sewers.
Mm-hmm.
I say we go and investigate some of the passages that's on the side.
Okay.
It's not going to the ones that aren't going to the old.
I think
the ones that are going back.
Are you sure you don't want to go into the swamp and fight the Hydra goat?
Not yet.
Okay, so you go into you start slipping into some of these little crevasses, and the thing is, they're not really supposed to connect. It's just that years of kind of erosion have cracked the stonework apart, so you can squeeze through little cracks in the wall. And as you squeeze through the cracks in the wall, you end up what appears to be another sewer system. This one seems really dry, and it smells musky. It doesn't smell like the sewer that you were in. It's dried out, so water doesn't even run through here anymore. And you come out and it's totally dark. There's not even like any ambient lighting going on around there. And you kind of look around the best you can, and these passages start winding this way and that. So you realize you're in the ancient part of the sewers.
To make sure we don't get lost, I have some chalk that I'm marking on the wall to know the direction we came in.
Oh, that's very smart. That's very, very smart. So you mark off an area where you were. And you continue on. You don't have a really good idea of which way you're going because you don't have a map at this point of the area. So you guys just continue to go along. Somebody roll. Who's kind of leading everybody? Who's directing people?
Well, generally, you mean like Dorlock is generally in the lead.
Okay, so Dorlock, you're the one directing everybody. Like you're leading. So I need you to roll me a survival.
Survival.
Yeah.
And then I'll use inspiration.
Okay. You're not that good in terms of a sense of direction when you're down here. It's extremely claustrophobic, and you guys are constantly circling around and finding the check marks that you've already marked off over and over again. It takes a good 2 hours for you to kind of move anywhere beyond. But then, as you start moving, you guys hear like a skittering, a scratching from down the hallway, from one of the narrow corridors that you're moving through.
So I think we'll head toward the noise quietly.
You quietly head towards the. Are you stealthing? So everybody? Let me do a group stealth. I now that I realize I can do this, I'm gonna keep doing this. I can roll it from the party sheet. A group stealth.
Oh, nice.
Some of you are not so good at stealth.
Yeah, that would be me.
Blankety blanks over there.
Oh, actually, Dolrak, with disadvantage, you still did all right. Tiny, you're perfectly stealth. Unfortunately, Naris, you have utterly failed this stealth check. You're crunching along, splashing the water as you go. And as you guys approach this area, the scratching and screeching stops all of a sudden, because it seems Naris, you've spooked something.
I was just my curiosity got the better of me.
Yeah, you kept splashing the water. You kept splashing the water, so you spooked something. Do you guys continue? Wherever the scratching had been coming from, it's still down the corridor, but it stopped when Naris starts splashing around the mud.
Yeah, we're gonna stealthily, or we're gonna take our time, but we're still gonna move toward the noise.
You move. You continue to move towards the noise, and a body comes into view. It clearly was a body, but it is in such horrible shape at this point. So you kind of crouch down to look at this body. Most of the clothing has been kind of ripped off. The body is halfway chewed up, so there's only a few limbs left. And there's like a bone sticking out. The head is missing. One of the arms is missing. It's been heavily chewed up on the ground.
And does that body seem to be one of the?
There's no way for you to tell in the shape this body is in. You can't even tell if it's what race this body was, or if it's even male or female. It's been chewed up so heavily.
Okay, so we just need to be more cautious as we venture forward. We kind of kick the body out of the way and move on forward.
You kick the body out of the way and you continue to move. You continue to move on down the corridor. I need to roll another survival check. Oh, Dolrak, this time you come. I think your senses get attuned. You get in touch with your inner dwarf, and you start vibrating with the walls or something. Isn't that a new 1D&D skill? Yeah, because you rolled that time. You rolled great on the survival check. So now you continue along. And this time, you already know where you've been, and you know how to kind of move further into this labyrinth, explore further into the labyrinth. And you come around, and you see that there is an area that branches off into several different directions. And you see that a couple of directions you've already been to through your memory. You see one of the directions appears to have what seems to be a trail of blood and gore being dragged through it. And then there's another direction that doesn't have anything.
Well, looks like we're going to follow the blood and gore.
You follow the direction with the blood and gore. And after a couple of minutes, you come upon this appears to be yet another body, but it's not a full body. It's pretty much just a part of a hip and a leg. The rest of it has been chewed up.
We'll just continue further. I'm sure the only thing we're going to see is teeth prints, and there's probably... Is there anything on the ground around it that might give us a hint on what was dragging it?
Oh, sure. You can roll a perception on the ground. You see that whatever had been dragging the body is also leaving a trail of slime on the ground. You see there's the trail of blood was going along with this trail of slime. The trail of slime, after leaving this piece of body there, then disappears into this tiny little crevasse that even Tiny can't fit through. This tiny, tiny little crevasse. How come there's 2 dole racks on a combat tracker?
Because I'm doubly fun. I'm doubly fun.
So something had been dragging this part of body, but that thing disappeared into a tiny little slit somewhere along the wall. You look at the slit, and it is so tiny. It's you'd have to be a tiny creature to be able to fit through it.
Can you see anything on the other side of it?
What? You can't see
anything.
You can't see anything. It starts twisting and turning.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It kind of goes underground.
Wow.
And that's the end of the tunnel that we're in, or is that on the side of the tunnel?
That's the side of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Where the crevices that are coming into the side of the tunnel.
Yeah.
It's one of those.
So it's a gelatinous cube of some sort, probably.
Well, you guys fought a gelatinous cube. The gelatinous cube is much bigger than whatever this thing is.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't think it's... Gelatinous cube maintains its cubic shape most of the time, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It'd be more like some kind of slime or something.
We've fought those too.
Yeah, we fought them too at the cathedral.
You think it probably has more... You don't think it's an ooze. You think it probably has more substantive shape. You think that this slime is some sort of secretion. Because the oozes you recognized, you fought them.
Okay.
Anything else you want to ask about what's going on here?
Seeing this and hearing all this, I'm just like wide-eyed, looking everywhere, making sure like nothing's sneaking up behind us or.
No, can I take my battle axe and stick in a crack and kind of move it around to see if the stones come loose?
Yes, some of the stones do come loose, but you realize that the crack kind of twists and turns as it progresses.
Okay.
You certainly can't loosen it up enough for anybody to fit through.
Is there any residual slime?
Yeah, there's slime all over the area that he moved the stones from. So whatever it is, must have crawled in there and it's left a big slime trail.
Is the slime acidic? Does it burn your hand over there?
You pick a how do you want to test that? Is anybody able to test that? Anybody have any skills?
What are we testing?
The slime.
Well, what if we took the guy's leg that was been chewed and gnawed on, and if we wipe it in the slime, then we see if it starts bubbling up?
You do that, and the slime just coats it. It doesn't bubble or anything. Now you're holding this dude's leg.
Well, I think maybe I could use my medicine skill.
Yes, please do. You want to examine it?
To kind of examine it?
Yeah. Wow, that's a fantastic medicine roll. So you take out this piece of flesh and you examine it, and clearly, this piece of flesh has been eaten up. I mean, from the original body, it's been chewed on. Whatever's eating is probably feasting on it and getting nutrients from it. But you're pretty certain from your examination that this body has been eaten post-mortem. Whatever's eating is not what killed it. But because of the condition of the flesh, you can't determine anything else.
Oh.
You think that you think it was dead flesh, and then some creature picked up the dead flesh and started eating it.
No indication of the cause of death then, is that what you're saying?
The condition of the flesh that you have in front of you is not enough to make a determination. It's only like a piece of leg.
So then we don't have to be concerned about the slime creature no more. So let's go ahead and investigate. Because apparently that's not what killed him. Well, that's not what killed him. So we need to figure out who killed him or what.
We don't know what killed him.
Not
So
from
we-
not from the amount of flesh that you have. It's just a piece of
So-
yeah. It's a leg.
I said we go ahead and move on forward.
I think that's probably wise too, but be careful.
Yeah.
I'll try not to splash around too much.
All right, you continue to move forward. Are you guys interested in rolling another stealth and moving forward?
I think we want to try to be stealthy. Yeah.
Okay, let's try
Yeah.
let's try another stealth. See if any, because these group checks are tough because everybody's got a. Naris, unfortunately, you keep splashing around. But everybody else, it looks like you did all right on the stealth check. Everybody else looks like you're keeping quiet.
I got my boots are soggy and they make me step heavy. That's all it is.
You guys continue ahead. You don't see any more bodies, but when you continue ahead, you start seeing now that you know what you're looking for, you start seeing these slime trails, and you see several of them, and they're all heading in different directions. But it looks like you can follow them. So you start following the slime trails, and you realize that following them, you see more and more slime trails start gathering up. There's several slime trails kind of gathering together, and it looks like they're even coalescing. And clearly they're heading in some direction. So you follow down that direction. You guys are kind of trying to stay as sneaky, as stealthy as possible. And then you hear a slurping noise, a crunchy, slurpy noise. It's just beyond the corridor on a turn to the right. That's where it's coming from. Naris, you're splashing along.
So we're coming up on a corridor and we're hearing a noise from the right.
Yeah, from a turn to the right. So if you turn the corner, you'll probably be at where the noise is.
Well, can I kind of stick a mirror back around the corner? And
Well, you
move
still
the
have to
mirror?
approach it. It's still far down.
Oh, okay. Well, when we get to the
Yeah,
wherever the
and remember,
corridor
you're
is.
splashing around the floor.
Well, I'll give the mirror to somebody else because I don't seem to be able to stop myself from splashing.
All right. Well, we're still gonna keep on creeping forward toward that noise.
I'm just embarrassed that I'm an elf and I can't be as stealthy as a dwarf.
You're just having a bad day because you had too. You don't normally. You can't really take your ale, and you just decide to drink today.
I mean, do we really notice that he's not being stealthy? I mean, rest of us are.
Well, you guys would have to notice if somebody else would notice it. It's the fumes in the sewer is kind of making me woozy.
Yeah.
So I'm stumbling.
So there is crunching, there is slurping, screeching noises where you guys are, right around the corner, and you guys kind of get up to the corner. Once you turn the corner, that's where you'll be at where it is.
Yeah, well, I'm going to hand the mirror to somebody and have them look around the corner, see if they can at least see what's coming up. I'll try to stay behind.
And you summon a rat and have your rat.
Oh yeah, I kind of forgot about that. I'll summon my bat.
Okay, I'll get a bat here. Your bat appears, and you have your bat, I guess, fly around the corner.
Mm-hmm, yes.
The bat flies around the corner. I guess you're seeing through his eyes.
What do I see?
You see 5 very large maggot-like creatures, and they are surrounding a big pile of bodies, and they're feasting on it. And that's what the slurping is from. There's 5 of these.
I see.
Oh, carrion crawlers. I've heard of them. Yes.
I guess you probably would have heard of them. Very nasty, diseased creatures. Feed on refuse and debris and dead bodies.
Guys, there's some carrion crawlers around that corner.
So,
Knowing that, do we know if they're like creatures that just scavenge, or are they?
They're pretty aggressive and they're very dangerous in packs.
Okay.
so that means they have pack tactics.
Doesn't mean they have pack tactics. Only wolves do.
Global. I mean,
Well,
But carrion crawlers, they live in the subterranean, like you guys are in now. They have an excellent sense of smell, and they love rotting flesh. They're also
will they pay us mind?
they're also known to
If we
ambush
just
prey. If they can't
Okay.
find anything to scavenge, they'll ambush prey and kill it.
Well, if we know that, then we probably need to take care of them because they could come up behind us even if we could sneak around them, which with my
Yeah.
plodding feet, we probably couldn't anyway.
They're also very
Right.
poisonous.
Nearest, how around the corner? How far around the corner were they?
Well, I give the mirror to somebody else since I was being so loud.
Yeah, it's maybe
No,
maybe it's like 60 feet or so, something like that, down the hallway around the corner. That's where they're hanging out.
So is it in your visibility range to throw a fireball at them?
that's what I was gonna say. I think I try to torch them all, see what happens.
All
That
right.
would be
Stealthily,
nice.
Yes, you can try to sneak up on them and throw a fireball.
I will. Try to
But
do-
if once you go around the corner, I'm going to roll their perception. They have an excellent sense of smell.
I can throw a fireball 150.
Yes, I know. But I'm gonna roll perception to see if you get detected once you round the corner, because then your scent will be wafting at them.
Fair enough.
We
Sounds
are
like a plan, guys.
we are actually at time, so this will be the last roll. I will roll their perception. They get advantage. You can roll a stealth to oppose it.
No, it's stealth too. I'm pretty good. I'm pretty stealthy.
Oh, okay. You can get up on them. You guys get a surprise round when we begin combat on them.
Nice.
Alright.
We'll have to pick up next time because we're at time now.